What's up, everybody? It's live. We're live tonight from the Nice Guy podcast. You know what we do? We watch wrestling. So it's Wednesday night and AEW is on. And we got a special guest in the house from WKQQ, Lexington's Radio 100.1 FM, DJ Otis, BadAss.
Well, thank you.
What's up, brother?
How are you? This has been a long time in the making.
I know, right? We've been asking you for a long time, and you finally got free.
I'm a busy man these days.
We stole one of your fishing nights.
Yeah, you did. You did. Johnny kept asking me, it was like 2 months ago, hey, can you come on? Can you come on? And I was like, oh, well, when do you want me to come on? Well, I'm booked up March, April, and May. Okay, talk to me in June. And then Johnny says, hey, what is today, June 20th, 21st?
Yeah.
Okay, so I looked at my calendar, and this is the summer solstice.
Yeah. So
this is where I spend all day fishing, and I don't do anything else. I start fishing at like 7 o'clock in the morning. I don't want to come back home till 10:30, 11 o'clock at night.
Johnny's a big fisherman, aren't you, Johnny?
Yeah.
And I looked at my calendar and realized that's my big fishing day of the year. But then I got the Nice Guy Andy podcast. I'll make the exception. I'll come down, hang out with you boys.
We appreciate you.
Yeah, so I moved my fishing night to last night.
And like always, I have next to me Sean Johns, the Wrestling Encyclopedia.
Hello, everybody. How we doing?
And close next to him is Superfly Johnny Lee.
What's up? The podcast God in the house.
And Randy Holland, my girlfriend, says, "Hey guys, hi Randy."
Hey guys, somebody talk about one of the
Sponsors. Alrighty, our sponsor.
Who's got the radio on?
Not me.
That was me.
That's you.
Sorry.
Yeah.
It's not like we're being professional in here, Sean.
Who's a professional? It ain't us.
Hey, somebody talk about Matt's Gaming and Supply.
We got Matt's Gaming and Collectibles.
That's my big fishing day of the year.
Yeah.
But then I got the Nice Guy Andy.
See, that was you that time.
That was me.
Dang it, Andy.
I thought you was talking. I was like,
I did too. I got all these voices in my head right now. I don't know who's talking and
Like
who's
Randy
arguing.
Orton.
Right, we've got Matt's Games and Collectibles up at Eastland Shopping Center. He's got some retro toys, retro games, so much more. Up at Eastland, go up there, tell him Nice Candy Podcast sent you. Or just go and talk to him. Matt's a pretty cool dude. We had him on here a few months ago. He was very fun,
Hell yeah, he is.
very down to earth.
Not only that, but you got Big Kahuna Hawaiian Barbecue on Liberty Road. Go there because they got great, delicious food, and especially their Big Kahuna burger. You got to try it for yourself. They even got a mural of Samuel L. Jackson from Pulp Fiction. Go there, tell them Nice Guy Any Podcast sent you, and have yourself some good eats.
And you may even get your picture taken on the wall.
That's right,
and
the Wall of Fame.
Bose Tractor Works. It's a nice
It's a pain relief cream.
pain relief cream that if you're out there wrestling or out in the yard and you're working out in your gym, get some Bose tractor.
Rub that stuff on your skin, and I'm telling you right now, you get in there thoroughly,
John.
and you'll see the results. I'm not talking like that, Sean. Come on, be professional. It's about healing that pain and
We don't do
feeling all
professional
good.
here on this podcast, sir.
And
Johnny, you're a superstar in the making. I want you to know that.
He really
Appreciate
is.
that, brother.
I like your ad reads.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I do. Not only that, but we got June 27th. Not only does Pivot have a free show happening there, but also you got the Marion County Fair show going to be happening with UCW, TCW, USWF, and not only that, the same night it's going to be
At the
Barron County Fair.
Barron County Fairgrounds.
Okay, and then we have on July the 3rd we have Appalachian Mountain Wrestling down in where are they all be at Pikeville?
Pikeville.
nope, it's going to be
Right
at
out-
Coal Run Village Park.
right
Coal Run
outside
Village.
Pikeville.
Coal Run Village
Pike.
Park, July the 3rd, 2023, 6:05 bell time.
That's
Live
right.
music and fireworks free to all. So that's a
That's
free
right.
show, guys. Get down to
And-
the fair down there.
And don't forget its name, Independence Day Slamboree.
Independence Day Slamboree.
That's right.
And
And,
then-
July 2nd,
Okay, go ahead.
July 2nd, we got New South Wrestling is back with Country Boy Brewing in the house. Come on, guys. Go out there, support them. Lawrenceburg, Kentucky, 101 Hilltop Drive. 403-42 Make sure that you get there because I'm telling you guys, you don't want to miss the action because they already got the first match announced. It's going to be Matt Treya versus AJ Alexander for our championship. The Nice Guy Andy Podcast Championship in the house.
And APW down in Texas has Gold Rush Saturday, July the 8th. So these guys got the headbangers there, looks like.
So yeah, they do.
Yeah,
they
if
got,
you're down
they got
that
a great
area,
one coming.
shout out to Ian, what's his name?
Ian Mosley.
Ian Mosley. Shout out to Ian Mosley. And shout out to Joe Monroe for Joe Monroe's a big podcast supporter. So
yeah, he's got that raked up cash for us. And not only that, but Kevin Sinclair said, brother, you raise that money, I'll raise you another.
I'll match it.
What?
Yeah. And I want to also don't forget June 30th at the Lexington Counterclocks, formerly known as the Lexington Legends. There will be New South Wrestling will have a wrestling night. June 30th at the Lexington Counterclocks.
Okay,
formerly
awesome.
known as the Lexington Legends.
And they've already announced 2 matches.
EWA has a big thing coming up too, right?
Big
July 1st.
It's also called Gold Rush.
This is July the 1st?
Yep.
Yes.
It's also called Gold Rush. And that's
right.
where they're going to finally crown an inaugural Elite Wrestling Alliance World Heavyweight Champion in a fatal 4-way match.
Heck yeah, and that's down in Frankfort, Kentucky, guys.
That's
Get
right.
down there at the
Thornhill
Education Center. So let's get into talking to DJ Otis here.
That's right. On to our guest.
Otis. So, how are you doing, my friend?
I'm good. I'm exhausted. I'm trying to recover from Sunday night.
Yeah.
But I think I'm getting there.
It was a while.
And then I was just exhausted hearing about the wrestling schedule coming up. We've got a busy Friday, next Saturday, next Sunday with New South Wrestling. And then I'm also going to be working with, you just mentioned it on Saturday at the, Thornberry Education Center? Thornhill, not Thornberry, Thornhill.
You're going to be down there?
I'm going to be down there.
EWA.
Yes.
Yeah.
EWA.
Right.
So
Man,
that's something I've been working on too.
That's a nice place down there.
I've heard it's really good. So I can't wait to get in there and start working down there in Frankfurt to see what's happening and what that's all about. But I've heard great things so far.
He's got a great thing he's doing.
Wait till you see the setup. The entranceway, I'm telling you. They got a great aesthetic.
It'll give you Raw 1995 through 97 vibe.
I love that.
It's got beautiful wood bleachers in the place. It's a really nice place.
I can't wait
to have I think it's a really super nice place to have an event. I can't wait till they get more people in there and start filling those bleachers up. I think that'll be freaking awesome down there.
I do too.
Well, New South next Friday night. That's going to be fun.
Yeah,
because we are, like you just said, we're at the Counterclocks.
That's right.
Over off Legends Lane here in Lexington, and gates open at 5:45. We start the wrestling at 5:45. We got 3 matches before first pitch, and then the main event after.
where they're
ball game.
going to put the ring at? You know?
I don't know.
Yeah.
The last time I was there, and they did. What was it? It was the Barstool melee they had a few years ago. I think 2017, 18, 19, somewhere around there. And that was a wild deal going on. But they had the ring literally at the pitcher's mound. We won't be doing that. So I don't know where
there'll be a game going on, right?
Yeah, there's a game after our first 3 matches.
Maybe the ring will be set up like how I've seen at other places like Rep Arena, set up inside bleachers, but not in the bleachers.
I don't know how this is going to work out, but I'm curious to find out.
There's probably there's a nice big space there and when you first walk through the gate. That's probably where it's going to be. There.
Could be.
Yeah, down at the bottom down there.
I mean, it's going to be unique. I'll tell you that.
And then we're going to be back at the event center on Sunday night.
Yeah,
that's right.
So
this has been a while since New South has traveled anywhere.
It has been. I went back and I looked at the calendar earlier today, and the last time when we were in Lexington, it was last year.
Yeah.
The last time we traveled was in Wilmore.
Wilmore,
last August, and then we took some time up to kind of reboot New South and get the event center going in Lawrenceburg. So, going all the way back to August when we were in Wilmore.
I loved being down there in Wilmore. I thought that was
too.
a really good place to have a match, too. And we got a pretty good crowd down there.
Yeah. That's where Fandiel's mask ended up going to, because a fan of Fandiel's found the mask because he'd been partying with his hoochie mamas and called up Andy and said, Well, I got his mask here in
That's
Wilmore,
when it's-
Kentucky, and
that's
Andy
when
had to go down there to get it.
Yeah, I had to go all the way to Wilmore, Kentucky, and back down there to get the mask that Bandito had lost.
I was talking shit about him the whole time. I was like, what kind of idiot leaves his mask laying around when they're drinking and all that?
Yeah, Bandito was a nut.
Yes, he is.
That was a fun crowd that night down there.
Oh,
Sunday
yeah,
night,
it was really
some
was.
wrestling. Everybody gets down with church down at Wilmore. Come on over for some wrestling.
Yeah.
Not only that, but we
Barry
helped,
Windham was there.
Barry Windham was there. Yes,
and we helped put up the ring and tear it down that night.
I
too.
remember that. I helped too. And first of all, let me go ahead and say this. I'm going to get this out of the way. On behalf of New South Wrestling, we can't thank you guys enough for your support. You guys are fantastic for us. You guys come down. You support our product. You support our wrestlers. And it's amazing what you guys and the reach that you all have and the pull that you guys have with this podcast and the influence it has on our fans at New South. So I can't thank you guys enough for what you all do for us.
We don't
appreciate
we
that.
don't realize how big the podcast is. We just I don't know. It's
You just do your thing and go along with
we
it.
just
and
do our
it
thing,
happens.
and we don't realize
Hey.
how big it is, and what Johnny does. But
Yeah, I do.
you know, I got
We-
all kinds of other things to do. I got day jobs, and then
Right.
trying to do the podcast is kind of like a part-time job for me, but
Mm-hmm.
it's full-time for Johnny. Johnny lives
really
the podcast, and Sean, me and Sean both have day jobs. So
And I won't forget earlier this year, January, when we were at AEW, there was these wrestlers. They pulled up beside a car as we were leaving, and they
Were
told us
wrestlers, or were they just?
they seemed like wrestlers because they said
they were.
they looked at me and you and they said, we just want you to know the rest community appreciates what y'all been doing.
yeah.
They
Yeah.
It means quite a bit to us.
Well,
We
thank you
still
very
don't know.
much.
It
Thank
does.
you.
And I know it means quite a bit to the wrestlers, but from the PR standpoint
Yeah.
and what I help out with and what you guys do, that helps us tremendously.
We try. We started out doing this for fun, and then it became something that we were obligated to do.
That's
Feel
right.
like, and the podcast has its own entity now. Like I was like, you know, it's Nice Guy Indie Podcast, but if I left, I think it would still go on.
Yes,
but
it would.
yeah, but it's outgrown me completely. But
You never know what happens when you start doing something for fun.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
And then it snowballs into something else.
yeah. All we do is come here and have fun, and you know that's what we try to do.
And we love putting over independent professional wrestling and independent Kentucky professional wrestling and all things local.
independent.
I noticed that, and I think that's great.
Oh,
for you
anything
guys.
independent, anything independent.
Sure.
So I want to shout out Slap Mob is dropping a new CD tomorrow or a new album tomorrow. I don't even know what you call them anymore. But we got
Get your CD name up
from
here.
the guys down there at Slap Mob. You got J Rags, Nuts Fizzle. We got L Burner, and who was the other guy?
the trying to remember his name. I know there's J Rags, there's Nuts Fizzle, there's TA,
If they're
there's
watching, they're gonna beat us right now.
Yeah, I know,
I mean,
right?
but I do have the album name,
Yeah, what's the album name?
Life of the Party,
Life of the Party.
and it's Slap Mob's newest album. So get your ass on down there and get an album because let me tell you,
It's drops tomorrow. I think it's probably going to be on Spotify. So you can
That's
probably go
right.
over to Spotify and look. And the Nice Guy Andy podcast is on Spotify too, guys. Some of the old episodes are on there. I don't get to download them as much as I want to, but I'm going to start downloading those shows every week now. And you can go over to Spotify, and if you don't listen to it on YouTube or Facebook, you can watch it on Spotify. And we're on Apple Podcast and 2 others. I really need to do some
Yes.
research into this podcast.
I mean,
It's not like you're the host or anything.
Oh well, man, I get so busy like doing everything else. It's like trying to pay the rent, and I'm not just a producer. I pay the rent around here, and I have to go pick up the ice and try to make sure it's cool here, and so.
and I'll be booking the show, networking, and all that.
So we got AEW going on over here. We got Jeff Jarrett fighting with Mark.
Mark Briscoe.
Mark
Go in a
Briscoe.
concession stand brawl.
Yes, it's the concession stand brawl between Mark Briscoe and Jeff Jarrett.
So
Jeff
what's
Jarrett
the-
won
Just
it.
said that.
What's the radio life like, DJ Otis?
Hectic.
Hectic.
you've got to be flexible.
Yeah, yeah.
It doesn't matter.
I'm sure you wear a lot of hats like I do.
Yes.
Like producing the show,
Yes.
and you're not just the guy that talks on the show. You're doing a lot of other stuff.
Producing, it's doing show prep, it's being flexible, it's being versatile.
Yeah.
You know, 1 minute I'm producing one show, the next minute I've got to go into rock radio mode and be on the air on double Q. And then I got to switch back and do sports again. So you got to have some flexibility and quick recall. Yeah, I mean, for Sunday mornings when I'm on the air, it's 6.5 hours nonstop, shifting back and forth, doing things here and there, making sure this song's playing at the right time. This spot's getting in. I'm reading this right. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. I'm keeping up with social media, which, you know, it isn't much because I don't get a lot of interaction other than Johnny on my Twitter account.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of things going on in a condensed amount of time. You may think 6 hours is a long time, but when you get going and you're pushing buttons and you're making sure everything's going the way you want it to, it's a rush.
Well, we understand.
And I love
that.
it. I love it.
This show's 2 hours, and like we'll look up here in a minute, and it'll be over, and you know you're like, I didn't get this in, I didn't get that in.
Yeah.
You know, kind of stumbled on my words a little
It
bit.
happens like
I tell you, I am kind of nervous you being here with me.
Stop it.
because you're a
Stop it.
professional.
You're a star, brother.
No.
And
You may
you
not
know,
know it.
how do you like you take a lot of notes? I see you have your iPad here, right? Is that an iPad?
It's Amazon Fire Tablet.
Okay.
So yes, I keep notes constantly throughout the week. And
That's what I need to start doing. I need to do more notes.
My mentor in all of this, he told me something very important, and it's so simple.
Yeah.
But it makes so much sense. You can't go wrong with the yellow notepad. I keep a yellow notepad in my kitchen, and if something pops into my head, I write it down. Doesn't mean I'm going to use it on the air Sunday morning. I may not even use it for wrestling on Sunday night, but I have it there because by the time I think about it on Monday, then it's already Friday, it's Saturday, it's Sunday. I may not even think about it again.
I do that a lot too, and I think I've been thinking all week about what I need to talk about on here, what I need to say, and then when I get here, it's like, oh, you put yourself on the spot.
This right here,
Yeah.
page of notes I had for Sunday night.
That's right.
Yeah.
Didn't even get to it.
Yeah.
Did not even get to it. And I really, really wanted to get to this stuff. I may share this with you guys later on
Share it.
because
Go ahead.
this was,
Yeah, we appreciate
this was because Father's Day was on Sunday.
Yes.
What I wanted to do during our commentary with either Bobby, by the way, I talked to Bobby Blade the other day. He's not happy with you guys.
He's not.
No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, we love Bobby Blade.
I do too.
He's
I'm
probably not
joking.
He's
happy.
not happy with
He's
us.
probably not
joking.
happy
Put him
with.
over.
He's probably not happy with us because we got him back into wrestling.
That's probably
Yeah.
why.
We bring him out
He's
of.
still mad about that. He's like,
I
well,
love
thank
him.
you guys,
No,
assholes.
because we were there, and he cut his promo, and he's standing outside the ring. He kind of just walks by us, just kind of like talks to me and Johnny, just so only us three, me, him, and Bobby could hear it. He goes, "Thanks, guys,"
Yeah,
and
because
then goes on back being
because like
Bobby.
when Bobby was like we first had him on the podcast, he wasn't doing anything with wrestling.
He
Right.
even said that he was out.
He said he was out. He
Yeah,
wasn't
he was
going to do it
done.
anymore.
He had nothing to do.
Sean personally knows him,
Yeah.
sees him at the Kroger all the time and stuff. So he invited him over, and he was kind of like, he still gets a little nervous when he comes in here,
He really does.
and he kept getting asked back. People saw him on here, kept asking back, and now he's back in the business.
what
It
got
is
him
so.
back in?
It is so
he looks
hard.
so happy though. He looks
Yes,
so happy
yes,
now.
He is, and we've worked.
he'll-
We've worked. Go ahead.
He'll
I'm sorry.
purposely say it's us. Like, it's because of you guys that I'm back in.
Right, and it is hard, even from a radio standpoint, a media standpoint, commentary. The guys that you see in the ring, some of the backstage help we have. Once you get out of it, you're not out.
Exactly.
No, never.
right.
Because there's always something else to
you
do.
get pulled back in. When I talked to Aaron Tiny Rose last January, he said, "Hey, we're starting New South. Let me tell you a little bit of history about it. Here's what we got going on." I was retired. I was done.
Yeah.
As I said, I don't know. I've
Yeah.
kind of, since the pandemic happened, I've kind of enjoyed my time at home and not having to be on the road or anything like that. He's like, "Well, we're going to be doing this in Lexington." Well, okay, let me think about this. And well, Aaron, I work on Friday nights. Well, here's who we got coming in on the first. You're going to love this, and eventually we're going to have Jerry the King. Okay, I'm in.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm in.
Yep.
I'm in. And so now, last March, I'm ringside calling Doug Gilbert and Jerry the King Lawler.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Couldn't believe it.
That
So
was the first show me and Johnny went to.
Even
Yeah.
That's right.
even somebody like Sean was like a fan, and he wasn't even going. You wasn't even going before this, right? You wasn't even going to wrestling stuff much.
Before the podcast, after Gentleman Jim Chadwick passed away, I really didn't go to too many independent wrestling because when Jim Chadwick died, even though I was at the time just a fan, I was doing some training and doing some stuff. I, in my mind, purposely earned the right to call Jim my friend. So when he passed away, I just stopped going to independent wrestling. It wasn't until last year when New South opened back up, I started going. And
You mean 2021? Because remember,
Shut up.
You asked me.
okay, I did go to some KEPW, but
Yeah.
really I didn't get into it till last year.
So the
New,
podcast kind of brung Sean back into
it really has.
here's the deal
even being a
about
fan.
Oh yeah.
whether it's wrestling, it's journalism, podcast,
Yep.
like what you guys are just talking about. Pun intended. Media guys are wired differently.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are.
Because who else would want to get up at 6 o'clock on a Sunday morning and go play Journey on Double Q?
Yeah.
Me.
You.
Exactly.
Most
Yeah.
people are asleep or they have family things to do. No, I want to be on Double Q playing rock and roll on Sunday morning.
And you got into it for the music.
I got into it because yes, I'm a music fan. I'm a huge sports fan too.
I always wanted to be a DJ when I was younger, and I did some broadcasting school when I was younger, but I didn't get to finish what I wanted to do. And then I waited. I did a little YouTube, not a YouTube, but I did a public access show called Midget Tube with Jacob Ennis back in broadcasting school years
I know
ago.
Jacob.
Yep.
I know Jacob. Haven't talked to him in years.
Jacob Ennis went on to do movies and stuff like that. And so Jacob is a really good friend of mine. And so I waited like years and years
Kill
and years
Granny
to get
Kill.
back. Yeah, oh, yeah. great stuff,
Yes,
man.
yes.
He just has a new movie come out here a while back. I need to know what that movie is, but I don't.
Is that the art of painting or
Art of
the
painting.
art of killing? Or is it the art of killing?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Art of
that's
Killing.
it.
The Art of Killing?
That's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Jacob Ennis, Art of Killing. Find it somewhere. I don't know where it's at. I'm sure it's on the internet somewhere.
I remember they sent you a small snippet and you were unable to play it.
I was going to be in that movie for a little bit. We ended up not doing
The
that.
Art of
And,
Andy.
Yeah.
Scott
I-
Diamond left a comment. Sorry.
Who?
Scott Diamond said, just want to give a shout out to some of my favorite people. Otis is definitely Scott Diamond approved.
Hell yeah.
Well, thank you, Scott. Scott and I had never worked together. We had never crossed paths until last August about that show we were talking about in Wilmore. And immediately we just took off running on commentary. And I had a blast with him. Still do. Even though he's usually up to his antics around ringside. You guys know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I love working with Scott
I'm
Diamond.
an honorary member of the Diamond Cartel.
Are you really?
Is what he
Get out of
says.
here.
Yeah.
Scott's cool,
Hey,
man.
he told me that.
I love working with Scott Diamond, and him and I could sit there and talk forever. And Bobby and I are the same way.
Well, we were down at EWA the last show, and he came over to our booth and just kind of sat down, and him and Johnny did play by play, like on some of the we didn't show the wrestling, but we showed I showed them two doing the play by play, and Johnny held his own with Scott, so that was pretty good. Scott actually praised Johnny for afterwards, so
That's
After
great.
that.
That's great. Yeah,
don't get
that
praise
means a lot
lately.
coming from Scott Diamond and his longevity in
Yeah.
wrestling,
Yeah.
especially in Kentucky, and how well known he is. For him to tell me or say I'm approved by him, that means a lot to me.
So
Exactly.
I know you get on the line, you get on air, you go on air. Is it usually solo, or do you usually interact with people do you ever do shows like this?
No,
No.
I don't do anything like this at all.
Yeah.
So it's strictly on air with Double Q.
Yeah.
Or if I'm doing sports and then doing New South.
So in New South, you get to interact with other people.
Yes.
So how do y'all do it? Like sometimes we get excited, and none of us have been really trained as far as doing broadcasting together. But how do y'all not talk over each other?
Timing.
Yeah.
It's instinct. You have to know when to back off,
Yeah.
You know, I can't explain it.
Yeah.
You know, you have to take visual cues. Like right now, Johnny and I are looking at each other. Excuse me. Johnny knows I'm talking. Johnny knows he's not going to say anything right now. So it's a lot of visual cues.
Yeah.
And what we do at the broadcast table, we all three specifically have our own duties.
Yeah.
Now, yes, we do work as one cohesive broadcast unit. I love working with Aaron Tiny Rose. I love working with Bobby Blade. I love working with Scott Diamond. Sometimes Adrian Alexander will come in.
He's awesome.
And boss hog his way onto the broadcast table. And at that point, I just let him go.
Yeah.
You know, it's about him at this point.
Yeah.
I'm just going to sit
He's
back.
He's good with the mic.
He's great. He's great. So Aaron is play-by-play. He's going to call the action. Scott, we all know what Scott Diamond's capable of. We all know what Scott Diamond does.
Color commentating.
I am there for kind of like the history, the analysis, kind of go a little bit deeper. I'm like the deep cut of New South Wrestling.
Okay.
I'm a history buff. I love the history of old school wrestling, analysis, things like that. So we all have our specific duties that we're going to do with each other.
Like we hear.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
I'm like
explained
the
it.
host, and Johnny's probably the color, and then he knows the history of wrestling and stuff like that. So,
But timing's something that you have to work on.
yeah,
And it's I can't tell you how to do it.
Yeah.
I really can't, other than you just have to have the visual cues and you have to know. And when Aaron's in the ring announcing, I know I'm going to shut up.
Yeah.
I'm not going to try to talk over him. And we have a lot of things going on in New South. You guys know that. So I have to pick and choose where I'm going to talk and where I'm going to speak at. If Scott is talking, I'm not going to talk over top of him. I'm not going to talk over Aaron either. I don't want to do that.
Sometimes we get to doing that. We'll talk over each other, and it's like, it kind of aggravates me a little bit, but I'm sure it aggravates these guys too a little bit when I do it to them, because I do it to them too.
Mm-hmm. It happens.
Yeah.
It happens. I worked in Louisville a couple weeks ago, and I worked with some great talent. They've been doing this stuff for 35, 40 years. They are so good on the mic. So good. Just seamless transitions from one thing to another, one subject to another, one topic to another. And I'm sitting there listening to them, and first of all, I'm thinking, I don't belong here.
Yeah.
These guys are so good at what they're doing. Why am I even here right now?
Yeah.
And then I'm thinking, how do I get to this point? How do I get to this level? Because they are so good.
Yeah.
And then I remembered something. These are guys that have been doing this 40 years, 45 years.
Yeah.
And they just have this instinct about them. They just have this delivery about the way they're going about. And it's up here too. It's in your ears. Listening and hearing is two different things. So
explain that.
I hear you.
Yeah.
But I'm looking at you right now.
Yeah.
I'm listening to you. I'm locked in on what you're telling me.
Okay.
I can hear things. You know, if you're saying something and you're going on this long rant, and I'm sitting there going, and you hear this all the time in radio. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. You're just hearing things. But when you're locked in and you're listening and you're absolutely retaining information and you're comprehending what that person's telling you and you're engaged in that conversation, now you're listening.
Yeah.
Now you're listening. You offer him some feedback, now you're listening. I could sit here and do this all day.
So should we? So
Yeah.
like, so
Yeah.
we should
Okay.
should that not be done like the because sometimes I feel like that I have to respond to what somebody's saying just to keep the audience knowing that
You're there.
that I'm here. Yeah.
Here's what somebody told me, and I had this conversation with somebody in New York last week, and we were talking about just those little instances where you say, mm-hmm, yeah, okay.
Yes.
I'm going to get back to that in a second. But here's what she told me. It's not a bad thing because you still want your listeners to know you're here.
Yes.
So don't think of it as a bad thing that you're going, yeah, okay. But don't overdo it.
Yeah.
I try not to do it. Here's what I try to avoid. Yeah, okay. It's hard because it's just one of those things in everyday conversation. Here's the other thing that I try to avoid.
What do you use other than those?
I'll ask a question.
Okay.
Or I'll respond somehow. Here's the other thing I try to avoid when I'm in conversation or I'm telling a story or I'm trying to get my point across, and I will not do this on the microphone with Aaron, Scott, you know. You know.
You know.
You know.
You know.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah.
You know, Friday, June 29th, Counter Clarksfield in Lexington, you know, New South Wrestling, Gates matches start, 5:45, box office blondes, colorblind, non-title match, I hate that.
Yeah.
I
I
can't
hate
stand
that
it.
too.
Well, you heard me announce, and I was kind of nervous because you're here, and I'm kind of softening up now. But I was stumbling through my words because I really didn't know what I was. Sometimes I know exactly where I'm going and stuff,
Right.
but I was kind of nervous and
I would, but don't be,
and I do
because
that,
I was nervous.
and that stuff like
Now I'm
that
talking
too.
over top of you, but what
No,
I'm
go
telling
ahead.
you is don't be nervous around me. You
Yeah.
have no reason to be nervous around me whatsoever. I was nervous 2 weeks ago working
Well,
in
you
Louisville.
do this. You do this for money, man. We don't get no money for out here. Like you are, like somebody values you enough to pay you to
I
do
guess.
this. You know what I'm
I
saying? So like
guess.
me, I'm like, damn. Like I would love to do this for like as my job, but I don't get to.
Mm-hmm.
It's a hobby for us right now. We do have sponsors, and we do love you guys for helping us pay the rent around here. But like, I'd love to get paid like you do for that because. Then that would probably give me a lot more self-esteem about what we're doing here. And the podcast is huge. We reached 1.5 million people last week.
Did you really?
Yes,
Wow.
we reached
Well, congrats.
1.5 million last week, and I don't even like it. Just like I don't realize that. Like in Lexington, we don't get like people saying, "Hey, what's up? What's up?" But we go to like Hazard or anywhere else, people are like coming to us wanting our autographs and stuff. And
That's
it's like,
awesome.
yeah, and then
I
I
love
get the
that.
realistic of what's going on. Go ahead, Johnny.
I just want to say, my self-esteem never falters.
Oh,
I know.
Johnny's got the biggest head in the whole room.
I can tell.
No, he's awesome.
No,
but
it's
like,
great.
It's great because when I met Johnny, Johnny was so quiet and wouldn't
Shy.
say anything. And then like I encouraged him, Sean Johns encouraged him to be Superfly Johnny Lee.
Open up, yeah.
And
He
become
started
who
out
he
as
is.
super fan.
I've created a monster.
I know you have. I'm gonna blame this on you.
Frankenstein.
Well, but everything we're talking about, and with you, Johnny, you've got to have confidence in this and what you're doing. I was talking to a media professional out in New York a couple weeks ago, and I said, I don't have a problem in front of crowds. I'm confident in front of crowds.
Yeah.
That doesn't bother me at all.
Me too.
I'm totally comfortable with that. What was that? Oh, okay.
I was trying to
So-
do that and moved it.
She said, you may be confident in front of crowds, but are you confident in what you're saying?
Yeah.
Are you confident in speaking? And I said, well, I'd like to think so. And then after 35 minutes, I felt like that big after talking to her. This is a lady that works with multi-million-dollar CEOs. And she said, I talk to these people all the time about the art of speaking, how to be engaged when you're speaking. And she said, these guys that run multi-million-dollar companies, they're nervous on stage. So just because you're maybe in a small market radio station or you're starting off working in a bigger market somewhere, you're not experiencing anything that anybody else has not gone through in their career.
Exactly.
She said, so don't beat yourself up over it, but keep practicing.
Yeah.
Keep at it.
Well, that's
Because
what we're trying to do is keep practicing, keeping at it.
yeah,
'Cause
and eventually you'll get it.
I like to do a lot of improv and stuff, and that's why the whole notes thing it hasn't been a thing with us because we just kind of that's one of our things. We have no notes. We just come off the improv, but sometimes it works. Most of the time it works, and sometimes it doesn't. With the improv stuff. I do think that I'm going to start doing a little bit of notes from now on.
It helps. Trust
Yeah,
me.
yeah.
It will help you.
Especially
and-
with the sponsor stuff because
Right.
the whole coming off conversation stuff, I think I got that, but like just remembering what to say during an ad and a sponsor ad, I think I might start recording some stuff and just start playing some stuff. I don't know.
Right. And even if you take
Yeah.
20, 25 minutes
Yeah.
a week just to go over and get those points in and practice in front of the mirror,
Yeah.
I'm always working on something. I
Yeah.
live by myself, so I can do this and not interrupt
'cause
anybody or not disturb anybody.
Yeah.
Or I can go on my computer and I can record audio and go back and listen to it.
We are so new at this whole sponsor thing. It's just so like we just started doing this sponsor thing. Like we've had sponsors, but the little ad thing just for maybe a month or two. So we're real new at that.
And some people like the conversational aspect of an ad.
Yeah.
You just a lot of wrestling podcasts, they do this. They just kind of sneak it in there on you. You're fully entrenched in what they're talking about, and then all of a sudden there's that ad that slides in there on you.
Yeah.
Some people like that. I like the big production.
Yeah.
I want to hear a big booming voice. I want to hear somebody trying to really convince me to buy this product or go online and buy, I don't know, emergency meal kits or something like that when the zombie apocalypse hits. I want that.
That's why I did it for Bose Tractor's pain relief cream.
See, I like that. I did. I really like that.
Yeah. We probably need to bring James Kobe in here for a few minutes.
Yeah. Hey.
Johnny, you can have my sheet while they go
Johnny,
on.
scoot over here and let James Kobe come in.
Hey, James Kobe.
Because he talks.
It's your time.
He's a
Hey, buddy.
he's a comedian. He talks on stage a lot, so we can figure out this whole.
Right here, buddy.
And Jay Ritchie's in there too. Another guy that's in the business. You want to sit back on the back there and. So James Kobe's in the house now. What's up, James?
Oh, you're looking at it.
You got the headphones over there somewhere. You want to put those on?
Yeah.
What we were talking about, James, was we was picking Otis's brain about talking on the stage and talking to big groups of people. You do that because you're a comedian. So what is your take on that?
On talking to like large groups?
Yeah, this
like what? Like how to get into the head?
come around this way.
Oh, okay.
Like how
My
to get
apologies.
into the mindset, or
Yeah, when you go up on a stage and you got a whole group up there, like what do you like? Do you just go up there and do it and you don't think about it, or like what's
One of the things I'll say that has taught me is when I say hi, my name is, and I'm. Wait, never mind.
you do it too? You do a lot of talking. Come up,
No,
come up.
hi,
Yeah, come on.
I say I
Scooch,
introduce myself to
scooch.
the group. Hi, my name is, and I'm never mind. So where's the 7 steps? Let me tell you now. So.
usually about a gram works.
Oh yeah, yeah,
That's how
yeah,
you get to the 7 steps.
yeah.
Mine's usually Coke, but
That's what
I
he's talking
digress.
about.
I like Pepsi.
Here I am just talking about practicing and all the stuff that you're supposed to do, and then what do they come in with the drug references automatically?
These
and
guys.
no
guys
wonder
over
you're
there.
so good behind me at New South.
We're
and
trying
music and
to be.
everything.
We're trying to be professionals over here, James Kobe.
It's about being alert.
What are you
man.
even doing on my show? Tell me what you're doing on my show tonight.
I don't know what I'm doing just about anywhere I am.
So you got a big show coming up June the
Absolutely.
27th at Pivot Brewery, right?
Pivot Brewery, June 27th, Tuesday, June 27th, free show.
That's the
Leading
most
with that.
important part, the
most,
free
most
show.
important part. Can't beat the price. Free. It's free. We got a great lineup. We've got Blake Hammond out of Cincinnati. Really, really funny guy. We've got Dusty Carter and Katie Bevins out of Louisville. Dusty Carter, finalist in the Louisville's Funniest Person competition. Katie Bevins, I've known her for about 15 years, old comedy vet. Brilliantly funny. Then we've got 2 Lexington guys, Sebastian Zabala, a little fireball of energy, and John Bass. He does a lot of promoting of comedy shows around here as well.
And this is brought to you by
Livewire Entertainment.
Livewire
Jay and
Entertainment.
I.
Jay
That's right.
Ritchie in
Jay
the back
Ritchie,
here.
the mastermind.
come on up.
Scooch,
To Mike, brother.
Scooch.
Oh, scooch.
Don't make me
Yeah,
tell you
scooch
again
up,
about the
yeah.
scooching.
Oh man, I've heard so much
So
about scooching.
bring that mic around a little bit. That way Jay can talk into it too a little bit. There we go.
guys don't hear me right
Y'all
now.
talking to the end of that mic and y'all should be fine.
Let's do it.
We should be used to this by now, you know.
Yeah,
so.
And without Livewire, the show you see on Sunday nights with New South, it is not possible without these 2 guys right here in front of me.
Oh, Jay's great.
They are the power that makes the live event go on Sunday nights for us.
No, I tell you, and here's
Are
the
you
thing.
both like? Are y'all like? You own Livewire? It's yours. Okay.
But I couldn't do it without this guy.
Oh, I know. I
That's
mean, I
no
feel
way.
the same
And,
thing.
and everybody, it's in my with my team, you know. And one of the things is I've said it, you know, a lot of times is that, you know, without that opportunity from Tony, originally back last year and at the Ice Center, man, giving me the first chance to come in and get involved in wrestling. You know, I'm 44 years old now, right? 44 now. Yeah. And I grew up a wrestling fan since 1984, right? I mean, if not earlier, from watching it from the first time I saw it. and I always wanted to get involved. But I mean, look, this ain't gonna get in the ring right here and do anything.
No.
That'll put
Don't say
butts in
yourself
seats.
short.
This will put butts in seats if somebody flips me off of a balcony in
it's your-
1997 ECW style. But
If it's your butt in the seat, yeah, it'll put butts.
that's the only butts I'm getting to see. Yeah, but taking what I was a long time musician, had all the equipment, wanted to do something with it. Started doing karaoke gigs, started doing some other things, and saw Tony. Said, "Hey man, everything's great out here. I could probably make your sound better though. Give you some lights." And we did it, man. And
The
first
sound
show was
down
good.
there is great.
Oh, yeah, well, that's,
Like,
Almost
Yep.
too great, apparently, right, Otis?
Y'all
It's beyond anything I could ever do. Like, I can turn on the microphone, and Kobe's already got me locked in where I need to be, and it sounds so good.
Well, is that why you switched to the other end of the commentary table this week? 'Cause
There's a story
I know
about
it's
that.
blasted in your ear, and
Yeah.
there's only so much I can do to
I know there is
redirect
and
it.
everything, and that's why I had to switch. Was you were, no offense, you were blasting me out in this
That's what
ear,
I do, baby.
Really?
and
to turn it off.
it was
Huh?
Ooh.
That's what I need to get
so.
you guys.
So we
teach me
switched.
something about
So that's why Aaron and I switched. But I know you have to do what you're doing, so don't. It's all
it
good.
sounds
It's fine.
great down
Yeah,
there. Like
it does.
y'all are one of the best sounding wrestling because we've been to a lot of them. Y'all were the best sounding wrestling organization around, like New South.
But
is.
it's these two right
yeah,
here.
I know, and I need to get you guys to give me some pointers on this sound over here.
And also great lighting too.
You got great lighting in here. I like this.
Yeah, you
it's
like
it's like a miniature.
I don't know what the
ballpark or
like.
something.
I've done all this. I've done all this, and I don't know the fuck I'm doing.
Hey, man,
So
I like it.
I don't know if that's a
good.
compliment to you guys or like or
It looks great.
a
Hey,
swerve
man.
on you.
I made mistakes into success in certain areas.
Yeah.
I guess you could call it that.
I just kind of like just say, hey, this seems right because I'm gonna have to have lighting. I'm gonna have to have a back.
Speaking of which, we got Matt Trey inside the comments. He just said, "Yeah,
What's up, Matt? Matt's gonna be taking on the Nice Guy Indie Podcast champion
Adrian Alexander."
Adrian Alexander. It was it July the
Second.
second.
Sunday, I'll be there.
That's right.
Country Boy Brewing in the house that night too.
That's
Country
right.
Boy
That's the
Brewing,
Country Boy Takeover.
Yeah, Country
Yeah.
Boy Takeover. How about that?
They
I
just
can't
released a new beer. I think it's called Hillbilly Hustle.
Hillbilly Hustle.
Man.
All right. They've got
I-
a great orange cream cider they do. It's amazing. Tastes like an orange creamsicle.
I love
Amazing.
that Lexington has all these little tiny breweries that are
Oh yeah.
popping up. Like Pivot is a
Pivot's great. Yeah.
Which interesting thing about Pivot, it was the first brewery in North America.
Oh, okay. All right, the first one.
And he almost made it through with a straight face.
Yeah.
Thought that was Yingling.
Yeah, he was trying.
No,
he
it's
was trying to fool one.
Apparently, we're allowed to do this now. Apparently, in today's age, we can make things say this is true.
Yeah.
was.
Oh, we're gonna have
Alternative
to
facts, my friends.
we're gonna have to
Alternative facts,
fact
my
check
friends.
that one. We're gonna have to fact check that one, Kobe.
Yeah. Hey, look at that.
You gotta get us.
Said,
You're gonna get us took off the air for that.
Well, you know Epping. You know Eppings, right?
What's that?
Eppings.
Eppings?
Eppings, yeah.
You know
Across the
Eppings?
street From Mirror Twin, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
You know there
They're
used
the
to be
first brewery in
wrestling there.
America?
At Mirror Twin.
What?
There used to be wrestling at Eppings.
Wait. Really? Right there?
really?
Do your history. Look it
Yeah.
up. Okay, I'll spill the beans.
Spill the
I'm gonna
beans.
spill the beans.
I mean, we could ask anybody watching
Long
to go
time
look it
ago, somewhere in that general vicinity, or I think it may have been up Broadway, there was the Eppings Bottling Company. Well, they had an arena there and they had wrestling. This was way back in the day.
Wow.
I'm talking like 30s and 40s. There used to be wrestling there. So
Where did you find this out at, Mr. History Buff?
Yeah, come on.
I told you I know some things.
I know, right?
You
Yeah,
are a
I know
Lexington
some
history
things.
buff, for
Yeah,
sure.
I love Lexington history. I really do.
too.
I bet you
We
did
should
not
do
know.
a podcast about that.
Yeah, we should. I'd be more than happy to.
Let's do it.
If you want to table it for some other time, let's do it.
Let's
I'll
do
be
it.
more than happy to.
Please.
Yes.
And John Gilbert, appreciate what he said. He said, "Johnny, looking good, man."
John Gilbert has a new OnlyFans apparently.
Yeah.
Wow, really?
He's maximum male model #1.
Big
on
Tex.
OnlyFans.
Big Tex. Look for him on OnlyFans. Big Tex.
Big
Yeah.
text.
Oh, dear God.
Is that accurate or
No, it's a
No,
joke.
I was just making sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm asking because
He put on he posted this really seductive looking picture on on Facebook, and I just had to add the OnlyFans label to it.
And he could not resist.
Well, I mean, you know,
We're always goofing on him.
put it out there.
He's gonna beat the shit out of me at some point, but
You know his ass is famous on Young
Ass is
Rock,
famous.
right?
No, they're not.
yeah, they
He's
canceled
very
that show.
famous.
Is that the reason why they canceled that show?
Probably, yeah. I think it's probably.
I guess, but it's still famous. Can't deny that.
So were you guys at SmackDown on Friday night?
No, we weren't. We didn't get to go. No,
didn't get to
did you
go.
get to go?
Yes.
You did.
Oh,
Yes.
you did? Cool.
From my understanding, that was the most profitable WWE show that's ever been in Lexington.
Really?
Yes. I think they did 9,500 in the arena at
Yes.
Rupp.
Wow.
And I was thinking about this, that I remember in the late 90s, early 2000s going to Monday Night Raw, packed to the ceiling.
Yes.
Now, the other night, they had part of it curtained off. They'd opened up Upper Arena, I think, a couple of days prior, and those tickets had sold out. The other half wasn't open. But I'm thinking, how could that have been the most profitable show WWE has ever had at Rupp Arena when I remember going in the late 90s and I watched The Undertaker and Austin beat the absolute hell out of each other on the Central Kentucky Bloodmobile, which is a great story in its own right there.
Yeah.
And that place lost their minds.
Lost their minds.
People
I
went-
was at that one.
People were nuts that night.
I was there.
People were spilling beer on each other. They're throwing beer. Austin had everybody worked up. It was great. How do you surpass that? Plus, they had Backlash pay-per-view, I think 2003, 4?
Back 06. Yeah.
06, okay.
Which actually I watched that not that long ago, and the amount of blood in the main event of Backlash 06.
Right.
Which didn't they? Because it's in Kentucky, they got fined all to hell for that. Didn't
I
they?
think they did, and then
Which-
blood had been outlawed.
But you said that Taker and Austin were fighting on top of the blood.
That was on a Monday Night Raw.
Yeah.
isn't that
So
more
that probably gave Vince the idea, like, oh, they love blood down there, you know, and then.
Give them the blood. Give them the blood. Give them blood.
So really, it's our fault, really.
It is. It is.
Is it Rupp Arena where they had Hawk fall off?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, I was
And I
there.
think
Okay,
I think it was that same Monday Night Raw show.
Okay, yeah.
Here's the deal.
November
Go ahead,
16th.
Johnny.
We were there that night, me and him.
Sean's got it.
There.
Uh-huh.
We were, my mom, my girlfriend at the time, his mom, and him were all there. He was like 8, 9 years old.
That was
something
only
like
10
that.
years ago.
So here's the deal on Friday. Here's the deal on Friday night. I figured it out.
Yeah.
Tickets were way more expensive.
Way more
Yeah, they were,
expensive.
yeah.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember what I paid. I remember sitting up arena
Yeah.
for that Monday Night Raw, summer
If
1999.
you don't get the tickets the first day
Oh
of
my
sales,
gosh.
like the first hour or two, they get sold out, and then you have to buy secondhand tickets, and the price goes completely
the junk
the hell up.
fees and all
And then
that.
if you buy third-hand tickets, like somebody that's bought tickets from the second-hand guy and scalped it the third time, you're fucking, you're gonna break yourself.
The only junk fees I'm interested in paying is to Sanford and Son.
Yeah,
and that's
exactly.
it. I mean, they
Exactly.
get you on those fees.
They
It's
do, man.
Unreal.
You got a friend here,
Who's that?
DJ West Perry Warriors basketball. He said, "Love my boy BadAss."
Cal Maggard.
Yeah,
Thank you very
nice.
much. I appreciate that.
Cal's awesome, man.
Yeah.
We went down and helped him down in Hazard down there at West Perry, and he's just a great guy. He
Yeah.
really is. He
That's
Yeah.
where
really
I'm
is.
from, and I still haven't seen that school, man. I haven't seen
No,
that
school was
either. Yeah.
that school is
He
like
was
a
running it at at the old Dilts Combs High School gymnasium. That's where I went to high school after the first 2 years, and I knew it was like this thing set up.
So you're from Hazard too?
Yeah, I'm from Hazard.
Yeah.
Man.
Hell yeah, brother.
We won't
Who
hold that
isn't
against
from
you.
Hazard?
We won't hold that against you.
Yeah, I know. I've been gone for 23 years. Come on now.
Marty Clay's from there too.
Marty Clay's
Lost
awesome.
Creek. That's where.
Marty
but
Clay's
that's,
awesome.
that's basically Hazard.
Yeah.
So,
You know, we saw a lost. We found a lost creek as we were going down there.
It ain't lost
Yeah,
no
we
more.
found it. It ain't lost no more. We found it.
That's right.
I'm just upset that the Dukes of Hazzard Steakhouse is closed.
Yeah,
Me too.
I drove by
happened?
that about a month ago. Well, I drove by where it was, and I said, "Where'd it go, man?"
Is the
That's
billboard
bad.
still there?
No, it's gone because I'd seen it like right before that, but it was shut down then.
I mean, that's
so.
a Hazard artifact.
Well, that was where the Daniel Boone Motor Inn,
Yes,
the steakhouse
yes.
all burned down. So,
I heard wrestling would get wild back in the day in Hazard.
Man, dude, he
yeah.
packed he packed that school down there when we went down there. Just
Oh,
and
it's
he hadn't had a
down there,
show
man.
in like
They
a
love it.
year or so, and he packed that show.
Yep,
It was packed.
Yeah.
Smoky Mountain Wrestling used to come down there in the early mid-'90s, and Jim Cornette would bring them there. That whole thing that happened to Leslie County email, you heard about the Dairy Queen incident?
Oh, yeah, yes.
My aunt was working there that night. I think she might have been the one who called that ugly fucking on there.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Real
When
quick,
when he got out of the car,
Oh, yeah.
you knew it was on right there.
Go ahead, Johnny.
real quick.
Yes.
We got 2 people shout out. We got Andrew D. Browning, a.k.a. Big Pimpin' Doo-Doo.
Doo-Doo Brown.
Doo-doo, yeah.
What's up, DJ BadAss?
I like Andrew.
And Aaron Rose said, yo, he's inside the house.
Aaron Rose is watching us,
Aaron
guys.
Tiny Rose.
Hey, what's up? What's up, Tiny?
Aaron's
I like
awesome.
Tiny.
He's
Yeah.
he's
Tiny's-
such a nice guy, man.
He's such.
Him and I don't know who's nicer, him or Anthony. I don't like,
Anthony has been great to work with.
He's so nice to us, man. The first time I saw him, he shook my hand and said, "Yeah." I was like, "I'll check out your podcast," and he checked it out, and then he agreed to come on. Said, "I'm gonna be on there I'm gonna come over for like 45 minutes." I was like, "Dude, just you coming over and saying hi on the mic is gonna be awesome." He came over and sat down for 2 hours, and
Here's what-
fell in love with us.
Here's what impressed me about Anthony was back in February, and I was impressed with him from day one and working with him and getting to know him and his family and really have enjoyed working with him. But I told him in January, I said, look, that show on February 10th, I believe, 10th, 11th, I can't be there because I have a family Christmas.
Yeah.
We delayed our Christmas because the weather was bad and people were sick and cousins couldn't come over, things like that. So we had to delay it. We moved it to February 11th. I said, I have Christmas with my family on February 11th. He said, don't worry about it. Go celebrate Christmas, even though it's a month and a couple weeks late.
Yeah.
It was same week. It was same weekend as my
he
birthday.
thought you was
so-
making that shit up, didn't he?
no, because he said, I am somebody that believes family is important.
Oh,
if you have family things to do and to get to, I understand. Just give me a heads up. We'll figure it out from there, and you're more than welcome to come back. And it was great.
Yeah.
That told me I'm working for somebody really good here.
Oh, yeah, that
and
guy's
I've
great.
enjoyed getting to know him and working with him. I got to know his family really well, and so good dude to work with.
Great person.
Yes.
Great father.
Yes. And here's the thing. This is what has always impressed me, too, about Tony. And I've worked with him for over a year now. Not one time have I heard him cuss at anybody or even in conversation curse.
Really?
Not one time.
Yeah.
Have you watched the podcast? Because I think
Maybe, but I haven't. I have.
he's been
I
on there
have.
3 times. I think he's cursed on there a couple times.
Well, I
maybe.
mean, it happens,
Yeah.
but it's
Well, I
not.
think Enzo brought it out of him one night.
Yeah.
And it may. But what I'm saying
that
is
was a horrible night.
is that him conducting business
Right.
as an owner, as a promoter,
Yeah.
Which,
very, very professional.
now that you mention it, I don't think I've ever heard him curse either. I've heard Tiny curse.
Oh,
Which
we
that
got
was-
him to one night. What happened when we brought him out of that? Well, we didn't bring it out of him. Somebody brought it out one night, and I said, "Oh, it made you." I think that's
Aaron,
when
you
he set
made
the
Aaron
lights
curse?
up. He said something when he saw the new laser lights in the.
Yeah.
That's funny.
He said, "Holy shit!" I was like, "Oh, you said some curse words."
It's like watching.
Aaron's laughing.
It's like walking down the stairs and seeing Santa Claus take a swig of whiskey.
Yeah, or seeing
I know.
seeing Sasquatch in your backyard.
Hey, speaking of Aaron, he said he needs to get down here with us again.
He does, man. Aaron's awesome.
He is so great to work with too.
Yeah.
He is the one that got me into all of this.
Yeah.
Years ago, and I think he tells the story as I was coming down to PTW Primetime Wrestling in Georgetown at the flea market as a fan.
Yeah.
because I love wrestling.
Oh, wrestling's awesome.
And so I'm sitting there like how we all start out doing commentary. I'm with my phone. I'm holding my phone up and I'm doing commentary and I'm putting it on Twitter. I'm putting it on YouTube. And then Aaron was backstage and he told the guys, listen to him. He's doing it. Like I'm some kind of trained monkey in a cage. He's doing it. And so then legendary Larry D called me and said, hey, we're going to start a commentary team. Are you interested in joining Aaron, Bobby Blade? I said, absolutely. Let's do it. And then we were off and running. But for him to sit there and act like I'm a caged animal with my phone, say, he's doing it.
Did you know him then, I guess?
I knew him. I interviewed him. Of course, it all goes back to podcasting now. I had a podcast.
Yeah.
I had a wrestling podcast. And I reached out to him on Twitter, interviewed him, and that's how we became great friends. And we, probably an hour and a half, we talked about wrestling.
Yeah.
And that was it.
Wrestling
We've
is
had a great friendship ever since.
wrestling. Like people ask me, why are you a fan of wrestling? Mostly because it brings a bunch of cool motherfuckers together to talk about something,
Right.
and then we all like become really good friends. Like I wouldn't know you, I wouldn't know Jay, I wouldn't know James, I wouldn't know Johnny, I wouldn't know Sean without pro wrestling. I just wouldn't know all these great
A
guys.
few weeks ago, Blade and I went to Lee G. You know Lee G?
Yep.
Yeah,
Lee G, who passed away about a month ago. God rest his soul.
I never got to meet Lee.
Lee was a phenomenal talent.
Yeah.
So good on the microphone and just, full of energy, full of life, full of enthusiasm. So Bobby and I went to his visitation because we'd worked with Lee on commentary and primetime wrestling. So we go to the visitation, paid our respects, talked to his mom a little bit. We get out and I said, Bobby, let's go eat. Let's go out and have lunch. I said, this doesn't feel right that we're going to walk into a visitation for 20 minutes and then I'm just going to drop you off back home. Let's go eat.
Yeah.
And so we sat down over at Sonny's and had lunch. And he said to me, why the hell didn't we do this 6 years ago? I said, you're right. Why didn't we do this and sit down and have lunch and talk?
Yeah.
We sat there for 2 hours and
I
talked.
think Bobby's realizing how much he lost from being out of wrestling, and he's like a kid in a candy store now, ain't he?
He is.
Yeah,
He loves it.
When he's
and
by that ring, man, you can just see like he even looks like 10 years younger. He's so energetic. He's got such a beautiful color about him. He's just magical.
And people are happy to see him.
Yeah.
They are thrilled to see him
Yeah.
out there. So I'm ecstatic that Bob's back into all of this now. I'm probably the only person who's allowed to call him Bob.
And
You're welcome.
I gotta tell you,
We brung you
Yes,
back
yes.
into
Thank
business.
you.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you.
well, I gotta tell you, when he came on here, he didn't know that he could cut a promo. We said, cut the promo for us. He said, I don't know, guys. I don't think that I can remember it. And then just as soon as he started getting to it, the promo that he's been doing at New South, he just hit just like that.
It's a switch. It's a
Yep.
switch up here.
Yeah.
Comes on and
Oh,
off.
yeah, after the
He's a
show,
professional. Go ahead.
after
I'm
the
sorry.
Show, no, Bobby will talk about like, I don't know about that promo. It's just like, dude, you're a
You're-
machine.
You're a
Like,
damn
it's
monster
a-
with that
yeah,
shit.
You're right. It's a switch. Like he just turns it on.
Yeah.
Hey.
He gets nervous when he comes on the podcast. Like he gets nervous when he comes here. I'm nervous when he's here because he's so good. I got so nervous when DJ got. I'm okay now, but when he walked in the room, I was so nervous because like he does this for a living. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And I'm like just an amateur at this right now, and I'm so impressed with you, the way you talk and the way you guys do this job. That
Thank you.
It inspires me to like I created this. Now I need to become better on the mic now too. So
Hey, Bobby said, I'm like an older kid now. I'm 50 and I'm fat.
he's
tell
not.
you
You're
one
not
thing.
older than me. I don't even think he's older than me. I don't think.
He's 50.
See, I'm 44, but I'm from Hazard, so it means I'm automatically 10 years older. That's like, we go
Is
back
that
to
how it works?
Yeah, that's how it normally works.
Oh, okay.
I'll describe Bobby Blade like this. A few years ago, I went to go see the Rolling Stones in Nashville. Now, we all know how old they are.
Oh, yeah.
And somebody asked me what it was like seeing the Rolling Stones. I've seen them on every tour since 1989. I said, it's like seeing the coolest grandpas in the world having the time of their life on stage. That's Bobby Blade right now.
Oh yeah. Bobby's awesome.
I thought you were going to go into your radio interview story.
What's that?
I thought you were going to your Rolling Stones radio interview
I could do that
But I'll tell you
if
first,
anybody wants to hear it.
So
I think it'd be great. It's funny. Let
You
me tell
interviewed
first
him?
about this man right here. When I do the VJ stuff. I do the karaoke. But I saw him do something one night. I brought him in. He booked for a gig in a bar in town, and he did his old turntable DJ thing with old country. We did country night, and I'd never seen that done in person before. I mean, everything's so digital now. Everything's either
You
CD
did
or
that?
digital.
Yes.
He had 2 turntables set up and just stacks of records, and was DJing the whole night, old school style country.
Yeah,
It
I
was
love that,
amazing.
man.
Love
That's
it.
awesome.
It was impressive. It was
Thank you.
impressive.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I was happy,
but
man.
nobody really realizes how really good you are on the mic because I stopped over at Cocktails, and I spent some time with you over there, and that's the first time I really got to spend any much time with you.
Oh, yeah.
And I was so impressed with the way you was on the mic and the way that you talk to everybody. And I haven't seen you on stage yet, but hopefully I'm going to see you on June the 27th. But
I've seen him on stage.
I'm impressed with him, and when when I here a while back ago, I got in my feelings and I was like, I'm just going to quit the podcast because like I was just getting to where the money was, and then we decided to start doing sponsors and stuff. And then Jay reached out to me and talked to me about it, and hopefully we're going to work together on doing some things, And I'd love to work with you and all you guys on doing some, and even you, if we want to come in and do like a podcast or something, y'all want to come in and say fuck Andy and don't let him here and use the studio, y'all can do that too. I mean, like
Or if you
I'll sit over and produce. I don't.
You want to put someone through a table. You can do that too.
Well, not this table because this is
Not this table, though.
This is gave to me by a
It's a
friend, and
beautiful
this is steel. So
You have to bring your own table.
yeah, I know with all this electric and having a steel table probably.
Well,
isn't
if
good.
I didn't know Jay, that gig that I had when I brought my turntable, and that's something I don't ever do because it is a ton of work.
Oh yeah.
But I wanted to do it for Jay, the bar that I was at. I wanted to do it again. I haven't DJed since I quit Austin City years ago, but it was something I wanted to do, and I had a blast. But if I didn't know Jay through New South, that would have never happened. I would have never reached out to anybody and
wrestling
said,
makes
hey, I
things
wanna do
happen.
this.
Wrestling brings everyone together.
I had my boots on. I had my big Western suit on.
Oh, you did.
I loved it.
He played it up.
So
there.
how did you two meet each other? And Jay and
Was that,
James?
where you were working at the time, right?
Yeah. I was bartending at the time.
I was
We just
doing,
kind of met
a couple things in there.
in passing, and then Jibby was working on this show that I was doing with Keith the Clown.
Oh. I know Keith Khan. I remember Keith
Yeah,
Khan.
yeah. That was at Fish Tank back, I think, last September, and Jibby referred me to you. Yeah. So I came and shadowed you, and
From there, it became a whole romance.
yeah, absolutely.
Awesome.
Fireworks happened.
And y'all started working together.
I was immediately impressed by his operation. He's got, I mean,
I know
he's
he
good on
is-
the mic. He's like strip club level good.
Yeah, he's really good.
Go to the stage.
And how many
Andy.
Livewire Entertainment?
DJ stuff.
Livewire Entertainment works with a lot of bars around. How many bars are you working around here, Jay?
A dozen, I guess.
Like
I don't
12
know.
at least?
Maybe, I don't know. I have to.
You want to name some of them? Plug some of them?
Yeah. Tonight, actually.
Plug some of your
It's
stuff,
Wednesday
man.
Night, Wednesday nights, including tonight. Probably right now, I have somebody there until I go there. Cocktails on Old Tides Road, karaoke every Wednesday. Let's go through the week. Monday nights, big one. Everybody check it out. Jack Brown's Beer and Burger Joint. Have you been there yet?
That's downtown, right?
Now Limestone, North Limestone. Yep, where it used to be sidebar, right across from the courthouse. Monday nights out there at 8 o'clock, we do Sound Off Music Trivia. If anybody doesn't know what that is, we do sort of took the whole music bingo game and made a whole different thing out of it. Put in like a name that tune format for teams, with teams going through a time limit of naming songs on a sheet, and those that get the most right then come in and do buzzer game show trivia, which is awesome. And then you win prizes in 3 different games a night. So that's what really picked up with some of these places. We do that
Some
on
feedback
yeah,
somewhere.
I hear that too. That's
I hear
crazy.
it as
You have
well.
to help me with that.
Yeah. But that's Monday nights at Jack Brown's. We do it there. Tuesday nights at Versailles at Rolling Oven. We do the same thing.
Rolling Oven.
Yeah. Thursday nights at Pivot Brewing. We're there every Thursday for the same thing. Sound Off.
Pivot's beer is so good.
Awesome stuff, man.
Cider.
Cider is really
cider.
good.
Cider.
Yeah, cider's
They have a cider that they do around Halloween, and I've told you guys about this. It's a red cider, and so
Yeah.
it's like Hawaiian Punch if it was a beer or something. But it's so delicious.
Yeah. And other places to do karaoke at Malibu Pub, Neon Moon, and some stuff in Nicholasville, Neon Nights. There's too many to name.
Neon
Just go to-
Nights.
Yeah. Just go to livewirelex.com. It'll take you right now to the Facebook page. Put a weekly calendar up every week. But for anything, if you wanted to see something fun, interactive, enjoyable, do the Sound Off Music Trivia.
What's some of the guys that work for you? You want to shout some of those guys out?
Yeah, this one right here, especially right there.
James Kobe works
Yeah.
for him.
Wendy Williamson, she does pretty much everything for me now. Sam Culberson, who's a comedian as well.
Yep.
Sam works for me, and then he also does comedy, and he works for Rolling Oven. Mirror Twins, where we do a lot of stuff on Sundays. We do our Sound Off there. Lots of great people there. Sam works over there, and then Versailles at the Rolling Oven there.
Heck
So those
yeah.
guys are right on top of it now. I got some people I'm looking at because we've got some gigs
Yeah.
coming on.
I might be getting in on some of that.
I'm gonna need somebody.
I think that we may have a guest here.
We have another. Oh,
Oh.
Mickey Midas is supposed to stop in.
Uh-oh.
Boy.
Hey, and speaking of Limestone, my grandma lived on that street.
Oh yeah.
Is that Mickey Midas?
Yep. Yep.
Cool.
All right, cool.
Go get them.
But
We
yeah,
got
so
Mickey
all
Minus
that
coming
stuff,
in.
man, check it out. LiveArtLights.com. It'll show you everything. I'm
Sit
gonna
over
pop
here.
in for just a minute.
Yeah. You've been over. You've been on the show once before, haven't you?
I was on.
I remember
shortly
you being
with,
in the chair
It was
here.
when Enzo was here. So
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I got to watch the freestyle rap live.
Oh man, that was horrible, wasn't it?
It was different. Yeah.
He's been in trouble for like fucking with bitches, and then like
That's all his rap was about.
his whole rap was about living inside some bitch's vagina, and I'm like, dude, like, come on, like, don't you have another freestyle that's not going to get you fucking banned or canceled?
I think they tried to cancel him, and
Try to cancel him again.
MLW got rid of him. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I
he
mean,
says he left. He didn't have an agreement.
yeah.
Think about it, he was a big man.
I like him. As personally, I thought he was pretty cool, but then he started off with that shit, and I was like, pfft. And then Anthony Presley was sitting in here too, and it was like Anthony Presley's been he's been a preacher, right? He's been a
I don't know. I've never
I
heard
think
that.
he's been
but
a preacher before, and like Anthony's sitting right across from him. It's like, come on, and there's little girls in the other room. It's like,
see that? Yeah. Just
I'm not gonna try to. I'm not trying to say anything bad about the guy. I wish he'd come back on the podcast again and maybe redeem himself. But
I will tell you one thing that he did that was awesome. He brought that deep dish Pizza Hut pizza in.
yeah, it's
And
still
I
in
never
there.
had it. Is that what's in there still?
There's still a piece of pizza in there from Enzo. Like
that was a while
said
ago
that to you.
too.
yeah,
wasn't
a
it?
while ago.
That thing's gotta be-
Austin Diamond will not let me
said
throw
it.
it away.
Austin Diamond wants to eat that stuff.
Austin Diamond takes a bite of it every time he comes in the studio.
Mickey will be here
It's still in the
soon.
refrigerator.
Well, listen, if you
It's like a personal pan pizza.
if you got Mickey,
now, I'm sure.
if you have Mickey waiting outside, let me get out of the way
No,
for
no,
him.
No.
Are you sure?
He's on his way.
Oh, okay.
Oh, he's not. He hasn't here yet.
Okay,
He's not here yet.
okay.
Yeah, 'cause I'm gonna give up this one because I've got to roll in a few minutes. Anyway.
Yeah, he's got to go back to work. So
I want to.
Jay, we wanna
I want to
keep
know
you
where the
here.
party's at tonight, Jay.
yeah, Jay is the party.
Cocktails.
Cocktails on Old Tides and Liberty, man. Come out there. It's karaoke night. I get to go on and do my.
I haven't
Yes,
done karaoke
talking
nights in
and-
years.
Oh man.
When I
Sing
retired
some
from
rhymes.
Austin City, I was done.
Yeah.
So we used to, you would love this. Johnny, you would love this too. Back in the wild Austin City Wednesday night karaoke days, I noticed something one night. The crowd was dwindling a little bit. And I'm like, they must not like my stage gimmicks. I got to think of something different. So I came in there one night. We took an old whiskey barrel, spray painted it black, skull and crossbones on it. So get 5 female patrons from the bar. Come on up to the stage. 5 on this side, 5 on this side. The barrel was called the Barrel of Death. And we had women's arm wrestling
Oh, okay.
on Wednesday night.
Wow.
And I called it the Kentucky Ladies Arm Wrestling. Claw. KLAW.
Hell yeah.
And it was wild.
I bet.
And then all of a sudden the crowd started picking up more and more and more. And now you see these college dudes coming in here to watch these college girls arm wrestle each
Are
other.
they still doing it?
No,
Oh, okay.
it died when I left there years
Okay,
ago.
yeah.
So, Jay, you'll love
You don't
this.
have a
I
trademark,
see the
do you?
gears turning in Jay's head.
Jay's like, I've got this.
Hey,
Go on.
listen, I'll be
We're
willing
doing
to,
this
I will
tonight.
be willing to bring this back for you. Okay?
He's gonna be
So,
checking trademarks on this.
I
I'm
should.
gonna have to come down
I
and see
should.
it out when it
He has
happens.
an orange shirt on. It.
This was wild.
I know, right?
Ah, he never has orange shirts on.
So, here's what happened one night at Austin City. Some big old gal comes up to me. She says where they have the arm wrestling. I was like, yeah. Well, what time y'all do it? Right after Copperhead Road, about 12:15 or so. Well, that's too late for me. I got to drive back and go to work tomorrow morning. I said, well, Johnny, are you videoing me?
Yep.
Please don't. Please don't. So I said, well, where's work? She said, Pittsburgh. My husband and I drove all the way down here. And I'm like, oh, God.
From Pittsburgh.
And I said, well, we don't start arm wrestling till 12:15, 12:30. Well, that's too long. Well, if you want to do this, you're just going to have to wait. She said, I'm a professional arm wrestler, and I heard about this on Facebook. Well, we didn't advertise this. It was just word of mouth. I thought, this lady is going to kill me when she finds out the winner only gets a pitcher of beer because she thought there was cash involved.
Oh, wow.
And she bulldozed her way through all them little college girls up on stage. And so she said, where's my prize money? I said, here's your prize money right here. And I handed her a pitcher of beer. I'm surprised that pitcher of beer did not go over top of my head.
Oh,
she was livid.
Yeah.
And she yelled and she cussed at me. And I told her, ma'am, not one time did we advertise this other than just making a generic social post about it. But we never said there was a cash prize up for this. What, do you know how much money I've won in arm wrestling? Nope. Don't know. Don't care. Bye. Good luck getting to work tomorrow.
That's funny. That's
So if you want to bring back the claw,
Yeah.
by the way, it was never
maybe.
sanctioned by the Kentucky Boxing and Wrestling Commission, but you guys don't know that.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, no.
What was the Stallone movie about arm wrestling?
Over the Top.
Over the Top.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
Over the top.
And this all started when I was watching like ESPN3 one night at 4 o'clock in the morning. They had arm wrestling on. I was like, there it is right there. There's the gimmick.
I imagine she got into arm wrestling because of that movie. Kind of like when Dodgeball came out, all my idiot friends decided like, oh, we're gonna start a dodgeball. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
And then
That's
Beer,
a great
Beer
movie, by
Fest
the
came
way.
out and just like, oh, we're gonna start a drinking team. Like,
Das Boot.
Now, here's what we got to do, though.
Yes,
Just
do it.
like any of the court TV shows that you see up there, we need to have one where it's custody battles, but it's all fought over arm wrestling, just like Over the Top, you know?
Oh, I would
okay.
be in on
So
that.
there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would be in
That's
on
it.
that.
Great.
Custody battle.
I'd
I
come
won
down
my
on-
kid in
When
an
I
arm
knew-
wrestling match. First
When I knew
word.
some lady was a professional arm wrestler was getting mad at me about the arm wrestling contest, the Kentucky Ladies Arm Wrestling Association at the Austin City Saloon, I realized it's time to go. I'm done.
That's so funny. That's
done.
hilarious.
Do you know that 4 years ago, maybe a little longer, I took over the Wednesday night karaoke at Austin City?
Did you really?
Yeah. Right up until right before the whole COVID thing hit.
Okay,
It is.
so well, I laid the
You
ground.
don't do it anymore?
No, it's been a while.
I laid the groundwork for you.
Well, thank you. I appreciate
You're
it,
welcome.
yeah.
I had a blast.
You know, I ran so many cables to that ceiling, you know. HDMI, that's what we needed because they didn't have anything.
Did they have my staff up there? Did you ever see the staff of obedience?
I don't think
It was this big staff that I carried. It had a skull on it, and I would judge the karaoke contestants with it.
I'm sure it was there.
And
We didn't
if
throw
they got
anything
out of
away.
if they got out of line, it was bam, and it just made this thunderous thump on stage, and they knew to get back in line because the high priest of country music was up there preaching on a Wednesday night.
That's funny.
But all that's in the past now, so
And that DJ booth, they never threw anything away, so I'm sure it's there somewhere, you know.
it probably is. They can hang on to it. I'm just waiting for my Hall of Fame induction.
You know, that's
Right.
I don't care. It's
my
fine.
vote.
I wonder if they have my ex-girlfriend's shoes in that DJ
Ooh,
booth.
ooh, probably in the
Maybe have
basement.
her bra.
Probably. Knowing her, yeah. I'm sure a lot of people have her bra.
Had her panties probably.
Well, you know.
She lost her shoes at Austin City one
How
night.
do you lose your
I
shoes
don't-
at Austin City?
Women lose their shoes every damn
When
where.
we go off the air, I'll tell you another great story.
Tell us another great story. When-
No, this is one that deserves
Well, tell
to be
us a
off the air.
different one then.
Tell you a different one.
Yeah.
Well, you can tell the Rolling
What's that?
Stones.
Tell the Rolling Stone one.
Okay, okay. So, huge Rolling Stones fan. Huge. I think Keith Richards is a god.
Black Door's one of my favorite songs. Paint that butt.
Paint it black. Yeah. I think Mick is the greatest frontman ever, only third to Elvis Presley and James Brown.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I'm working one night in the radio station. This would have been 2003 or 4. Like I said, I've seen them on every tour since 1989 when I was in 6th grade. So they're doing a call-in show out of New York City. And they give the 800 number. I thought, call and see if I can get in on Mick and Keith. Let me see what happens. I dialed in. First
Oh, wow.
one. They were like, do you have a question for Mick and Keith? And I said, yeah. So it's like that Saturday Night Live sketch where Chris Farley's interviewing Paul McCartney. He's like, so you remember that one song? Yeah. That was me. That was me. So they get me on the air and they said, let's go to Otis in Kentucky. And I hear Keith Richards, this raspy, smoky voice. Hey, how you doing? I'm like, oh my God.
Oh, my God.
so
I bet
cool.
you about freaking.
Yeah,
nutted
I was
yourself.
just, well, no. But I just could not believe that I'm talking to like my rock and roll hero, Keith Richards and Mick Jagger. So, and this is way before I got into radio and on the air. So this is huge to me.
Yeah.
Hey, how you doing? You know? So I said, I want to tell you all this story. I was 4 or 5 years old and Start Me Up comes on. And my dad was a huge Rolling Stones fan too. And I saw the Start Me Up video for the first time on MTV. And I said, Daddy, is that rock and roll? And my dad said, son, that is much more than rock and roll.
Wow.
And Keith and Ronnie just lost it on the, I have to meet your dad.
That is awesome.
It's like, oh my God, this is the coolest thing ever. Still is. So here's the question I asked. And I didn't hear Mick so much talking and interacting with me until I asked the question. And I said, when you guys are in the songwriting process and you're writing down songs, are you in the mindset that you maybe want something to sound like something from 20 years ago, 25, 30 years ago? It does maybe, something from this album sounds like something off Let It Bleed. Does that go through your mind? And immediately Mick shot it down. I'm like, oh my God, I just pissed off Mick Jagger. Here's 23, 24-year-old me. I just pissed off Mick Jagger, the greatest rock and roll star ever.
Yes.
And he's like, well, no, not really. No. I'm like, oh, shit. So then Keith saves the entire interview. He goes, well, it just happens. It just happens, man. And then, we just write it down. We just do it. We just do it naturally and organically. And then, we listen to the finished product. And, oh, yeah, that sounds like something we did about 30 years ago. And, just saved it. And then Mick came in and kind of saved the interview, too. So cool, though.
Yeah.
Just so cool that I got to talk to Mick and Ronnie and Keith.
That's
and it was
awesome.
way before Charlie Watts died, and he kind of got in on it, too. So
Yeah.
it was my story about talking to the Rolling Stones one night.
Wow.
Still have it on tape. Cassette.
You still have it somewhere?
It's on my computer, but I still had the original tape
Oh,
that I
wow.
recorded it on.
Yeah.
Man, that's great.
I'd love to play that on
I'll
here
send it.
sometime.
I'll send it to you.
Oh yeah, do that. I'll
send
play it
to
on.
you.
I'll play it on there
I
sometime.
I made some edits to it and kind of cleaned it up to make it a little more modern.
Yeah.
But just one of the best things I've ever done, just by happened to pick up the phone and just call an 800 number. One day
Sometimes
in
you
New York
just
City.
have to do it. Like we tell everybody around here, if you want to do something, just do it. Like just, like you wanted to talk to Mick and you just kind of made it happen that day.
Yeah, I just went for it. So
Yeah.
it's like Billy Gunn last year. This is crazy. So I can't remember which one it was. One of the very first ones in New South when we were over at the Ice Center. Billy Gunn legendary Larry D. Larry wins the match, gets the belt and everything. Billy's walking around taking a victory lap. Everybody knew Billy Gunn had won the match. He didn't cheat and everything. So he comes around to me and he goes like that. Night's over with. So I just fist bump him. I'm thinking that's all it is. And he looks at me and he says, hold my fist up. I won. And I'm like,
Nice.
hold my fist up. So I stood up and I'm like this with Billy Gunn. And I'm thinking, dude, in college, I was watching you.
Yeah.
Going like this to everybody. And now I'm like this with Billy Gunn. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
Could not believe it. And then a couple weeks later at the comic book convention, I saw Jerry Lawler. And I talked to him and I said, hey, appreciate you coming out to New South. Thanks. It was great. He said, oh, you were there? I said, yes, I was one of the announcers. He said, I heard you. And I said, that was me. And I said, that was an honor and a dream come true that I was able to call one of your matches. And he said, yeah, I kept hearing this voice over there in the corner. And he was like, it kind of sounded good. And I was like, well, hey, would you mind to sign these? He looked at these books that Cornette had written. And he's going through them and he says like, man, I'm learning stuff about myself I didn't even know. And he goes, you mind if I look at these 15 minutes? He holds up the line looking at these books I wanted him to sign. And I'm just like, I can't believe this is happening.
Yeah.
Just by signing up doing wrestling.
Yeah.
And when getting commentary, stories like that, I think it makes everything that we do so unique.
Yeah.
That we have these little interesting stories. You have them. You guys see them too.
Oh, well,
Just these
we've
little stories.
We've talked to over 100. Nobody really famous, but famous to us. Like we've talked to over 100 interviews now. As far as just local pro wrestlers. And people that I wouldn't have been able to meet without wrestling.
We've created some stories of our own with some of these wrestlers.
That's true.
Like
Yeah.
Kyle Macker.
Sure of that. I one of the really cool things happened. Besides early on at the Ice Center doing those shows early on, meeting a lot of really cool people is I had that. It was when we were doing Friday nights there, right? I think it was Friday nights, and I had a karaoke gig going across town too. And that was when James Storm was in town.
Uh-huh.
He was the last time he was in town, And he was staying after, and he asked me, and at the time it was Sam that was working for me over there. And you remember Sam would come out, long hair. He asked us to come back and help him shoot an audition for a movie. Turned out, I think it's out now, so I can say anything, but it was like a Dune movie, one of the new Dune movies coming out. Just doing a scene for that. I'm not sure what happened with it, but so we're back there working with him on that. And I said, hey man, I've got this karaoke gig going across town. We're gonna go over there. You know, I know how Storm kind of his reputation. He likes to hang out, he likes to go drink, whatever. I said, hey man, come on, we go do some karaoke. He goes, oh really, man? I said, yeah, let's go. Go over there, man. It's my place. Well, I got this on. They won't let me in. I said, they'll let you in. Don't worry. Oh yeah, let's do it then. All right. He comes back. He says, man, I got to be in Indianapolis tomorrow for this convention. I'm probably do something stupid and get drunk. That's probably. I go, that's cool, man. Cool. He comes back and says, hey, no, let's go, let's do it. And a few minutes later, oh man, he probably went back 5 or 6 times to saying, I shouldn't. I said, that's cool, man. Next time, we'll get it. So, but he was like, man, he was on edge, back and forth, saying, I'm gonna go. When he come find me, yeah, I'm going. You come find me, and oh man, I can't.
Real quick, Kyle Mack said you're one of his favorite people, and also DJL's BadAss. To AMW, make it happen.
Oh, he wants you to come down there.
You know what? Let's work on this. Kyle Maggart, let's work on this. I'd love to come down and check out everything and visit. So
those guys are awesome.
That's one of the things I want to do is get out a little bit more.
Yeah.
Get out a little bit more. I enjoy being in Central Kentucky. I'm kind of a homebody. I don't even like driving around New Circle Road, but
he draws a crowd too. So
I love some Kyle Maggart. I really do. I really do.
We went down there and he treated us like we were his best friends. He just was so nice and so good to us. UCW guys down there, Terry England and Jimmy Walls and Brandon T. Wilson. Those guys are great. Have you worked for those guys?
No, I've only worked for Tony and legendary Larry D.
Man, we went down to Caverna down there. Me and Johnny showed up and we came to the back door and we're like, we're the pot. Well, we know who you are. Like I didn't know if they knew who we were. We know who you are. And Jimmy Walls goes inside and talks to Terry England, and when he comes back, he's like, yeah, we got you a table and everything. We were all ready for you. And I was like, cool. They were so nice to us. And Jimmy, I hadn't talked to him. That's Rated X. I hadn't really spoke to him much, know. And he comes. He's so nice to us. He's like he just looked like your old grandpa. He was just really sweet and nice to us. And they gave us a table, and then we had invited him over to the table to do the podcast with us. He turned on Rated X, and he just, man, was that character again. Like all of a sudden, it just blew me away. Those guys are great guys down there. UCW, USWF, and TCW guys. Those guys all work with each other, and they're down there doing the fair shows down south there in Kentucky.
And don't forget up here at EWA.
What's that? You gotta leave?
I gotta get going.
All right, buddy.
See you, Bob.
Later, Sean. Thank you.
But
Otis, all
Thanks, Sean.
Chucky
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Chucky Smooth chimed in. He said, "Great show tonight, fellas."
Well, thank you, Chucky Smooth.
I love Chucky Smooth.
Man, Chucky's awesome, man.
Yeah.
I used to go watch him at the over by the airport at the Armory there. He was such a star over there.
So this is great.
Such a star over there.
Was it
KCW?
No. This was Primetime Wrestling.
Okay, Primetime Wrestling.
We had a little reception fundraiser deal over there for somebody's dad. So they asked me to DJ and MC it. So I said, sure, great, I'll do it. And it was Donnie Green.
Crazy motherfucker.
Who was it?
It's crazy as fuck.
I'm trying to think. Was it Donnie Green? I think Donnie Green and Chucky Smooth were going through this huge rivalry at the time. And they were both there. And the entire night, they're on both sides of the gym. Now, you got people eating, having a good time. They're up dancing. We're doing some raffles. Chucky's over here. Donnie Green's over here. And they just kept staring at each other. And I'm watching people in the crowd. They're going through this whole program in Primetime Wrestling. And this crowd just started getting on edge. Like something was getting ready to happen at the Armory. And I'm watching. I was like, please let something happen. Please let something happen.
Was there a ring up?
No, there was no ring.
Okay, yeah.
There was no ring. But we were doing this for somebody's dad who was sick.
Yeah.
And It was one of the things I remember. I'm glad I did it. We helped out that individual's father, which was the main thing. But I'm just sitting there on the edge of my seat watching these two back and forth, executed greatly.
That's awesome.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
But I love me some Donnie Green too.
Oh, Donnie's funny, man. Donnie's so funny. When he comes on here, he's just such a star, man. He gets it, and he's he gets the mic part too, you know.
Yeah, Donnie's been great. I actually DJ'd his wedding.
Oh, really?
I DJ'd his wedding.
Yeah.
And
I love Donnie
He
Green.
said, every time I hear Chris Stapleton, come on, Outlaw State of Mind, or that's Hank Jr. Am I right on that? Outlaw, let's see, that's Hank Jr.
I think that is.
I know it's Chris Stapleton. I can hear the song, but every time I hear that, I think Donnie Green's sitting in my backseat just ready to put a chair over my head or something.
You never know.
But I love Donnie Green too.
Yeah.
So all those guys in primetime wrestling I work with.
Have
were
you
so
heard him
good.
on the podcast?
No, I have not.
Him and Bear Steele come over here. They've been over here 4 or 5 times.
Yeah,
They'll-
4 or 5 times.
Sometimes they'll just show up.
Yeah,
time they
and I
show
like Bear Steele too.
Yeah, Bear's,
I think
Bear's
the world
awesome.
of Bear.
Those guys are great guys.
Yeah, they were all great to work with.
They've been so nice to us too.
So one of the best things that happened to me in primetime wrestling, this is unbelievable. We brought Lieb and Lanny Poffo in
Oh wow.
for a seminar. Johnny, you just lit up.
Yeah, that's Lanny Papa.
So let me tell you this story here. This is great. So our promoter at the time, Daryl Kelly, King Hustle, he called me up one Sunday morning. He said, can you go get Lieb and Lanny Poffo? He's in Lexington. Can't think of a better person to do this. Can you go get him? I said, what's the address? He gives me the address. I said, sure, this is no problem. He's not that far from me.
Where do you live at?
I'm not going to say.
Why you don't live there no
No,
more?
I'm going to respect. I'm going to respect his.
You don't live there no more.
I'm going to respect his privacy.
Okay.
And God rest his soul. And,
Yeah,
and,
God
and
rest
the
his
reason
soul,
I'm
yeah.
telling you all this is because I think the world of Lanny Poffo. So I get the address. Now I am nervous. This is big time for me. And I get the Cadillac all cleaned up for him. I've got my audio gear in the back. I get a cooler. I got ice packs in the cooler. I go get water. I go get food. I get snacks. Anything that he's done. I've been a showrunner for bands before. I've worked in advertising, worked in the entertainment industry. I know how some of this stuff works. I want to be ready for Lieb and Lanny Poffo. I go get Lieb and Lanny Poffo. I even stopped at the car wash in front of Walmart and got the car cleaned up. I go get Lanny Poffo. I am 15 minutes. I tell him I'd pick him up 12:30. I'm there at 12:15. Kind of nervous at this point. You know, this is Macho Man Randy Savage's brother. You know, Lanny Poffo. He spent time here at ICW in Lexington in the early 80s. So I walk up. I knock on the door. There he is right there, the genius sleeping Lanny Poffo in front of me. He's eating a salad. And he goes, come on in. And I was like, are you sure? And he said, come on in. I'm finishing up lunch. Sit down. Have a seat with me. So he was staying with his daughter and her husband at the time.
Oh, okay.
He's eating the salad. He's going through. It's great salad. Great. You want some of this? He goes, you want me to fix you a salad? I'm like, you're kidding me. I'm in the kitchen leaping Lanny Poffo, and he wants to go fix me a salad. So this gets so much better. And we're just killing time here, aren't we? It's
Go ahead.
Okay.
No, we're good. We're good.
So we're sitting there, we're talking, and his daughter, I think she had 2 young kids, and I think one was just maybe born 6-7 months prior to all this. So the kid's there in the high chair, and he's just sitting there eating salad. He looks over, and I mean, he's just so proud of little granddaughter sitting there. Kids are great, aren't they? Kids are great. I said, yeah, congratulations. And you sure you don't want a salad? At this point, I'm like, okay, if the salad's so good, please give me a salad. So it gets done. We go out to the car. I said, Mr. Poffo, do you have everything you need? All he had was a gallon of water. And that's it. He says, I have everything I need right here. He holds up that gallon of water, and he holds up this little velvet bag. This is all I need. We're talking Lanny Poffo, T-shirt, shorts, sandals, gallon of water, whatever's in this little bag. So we get in the car. Hey, Otis, I got to say, you're riding in style. This cattle, it just brings me back to the old days. And I said, well, you know, the pleasure's all on this side of the steering wheel. Happy to help you out and bring you down to our facility in Paris. So I feel horrible that we're stuck in traffic now on a Sunday afternoon trying to get to Paris. And then I thought to myself, don't feel bad about this. Feel great that you are here with Leapin' Lanny Poffo. You're stuck in traffic and you're singing Waylon Jennings songs with Leapin' Lanny Poffo. Because at one point, and I'm asking him stories about him and Randy and his brother, his father, Angelo.
Yeah.
And I'm asking about ICW. And he was an open book. He didn't shy away from my questions. We're just having a great conversation. At one point, he says, hey, Otis, what kind of music do you like? I said, well, I love my classic rock, but I love old school country. He said, you have any Tanya Tucker? So we'll find some Tanya Tucker. I literally, we're going down Paris Pike, and I'm singing Delta Dawn with Leapin' Lanny Poffo. I can't believe this.
That's awesome.
I'm
That
just
is
like,
awesome.
smack me. This is not real. I grew up watching this dude on ICW. None of this is real at this point. So we get down to the PTW Sportatorium. Great name, by the way, Sportatorium, based on the old Dallas Sportatorium in Texas. So we pull up, and he says, Otis, I want you to be the first one to do this. Okay? Reaches in his pocket, he pulls out this little bag. He said, I want you to be the first one today because you've been so good to me. I want you to wear my brother's WWE Hall of Fame ring.
Whoa.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Like, I'm almost in tears at this point. Wow. And I was holding it. He goes, put it on. He goes, it's okay. Put it on. And he said, take your time. Unbelievable. Unbelievable how kind he was to all the fans all that day. He comes in, does a seminar with the Primetime Wrestling trainees. He's fantastic. He's great with all the fans. Could not ask for a better person to come into Primetime Wrestling.
Wow.
So I bring him back to Lexington. We're talking stories still. This is great. He was telling me about editing tape for ICW because they did their production at Channel 27.
Yeah.
They shot it over at Channel 36. They did the production over at 27. And then they brought the production all literally in-house in their living room. They taught themselves how to edit tape. They had all these tape machines and everything because they were trying to control their cost a little bit. And I just thought that was an amazing, amazing story on how they learned to make the cost work for them. So I dropped Leapin' Lanny off. Now, at this point, it's 11 o'clock Sunday night. I'm exhausted. I've done commentary, been on the road all day with Leapin' Lanny. It's everything I wanted it to be. It was fantastic. Unbelievable. Cannot believe this happened. Fast forward to 2.5, 3 years later, and I may get emotional about this. He sends a video from, where was he at? Somewhere off the coast of Central America, South America.
So you moved to Ecuador.
Yeah, it was Ecuador.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
He's in his condo, and he's got his phone. And he's like this, and he goes, I want to show you, Otis, I want to show you the view from here. Just
He loved it.
beautiful, beautiful. And he said, sorry, that was my headphone hitting the microphone. He says, I heard about your dog dying, and then you had to put your dog down. He goes, I want to read this poem. It's one of my favorite poems. It's entitled The Dog by Rudyard Kipling. This is not a 30-second cameo. This is a 5.5, 6.5 minute reading from Leapin' Lanny Poffo that he sent to me.
Wow.
I am in tears at this point. Could not believe that he remembered that day I brought him down to the Sportatorium.
Yeah.
And then he caught wind of my dog passing away, and he read that.
Wow. That's amazing, man.
That is-
crazy.
Yeah,
That's
incredible.
awesome.
That is the genius of the genius right there.
Yeah, yeah.
You will never, ever, ever hear me say a bad word about the Poffos,
Yeah.
especially Lanny.
Yeah, everybody I've ever heard speak about him and that knew him in any way. It's always positive.
so-
Man, I've been talking for years. We Lexington needs a statue of at least Macho Man here in Lexington.
So
Who? Somebody was going to say something. What?
I was just, how was the salad?
I never got the salad.
Of course.
That whole story, and you wanted to know if I got the
Of
salad.
course. That was a good salad.
I never got the
The
salad.
salad is the main thing you took away
I
from that
never-
story.
Jeez.
I
But
wanna
you know what?
how
He
the
still
salad was, too,
looked
actually.
for.
I don't know what kind of dressing he had. Did he have
63.
He had
Like last
cucumbers in
night,
it.
I had a
tomatoes.
chili aioli that was to die for.
I have to say this. I think at the time he may have been 62, 63, 64 years old. Yeah. He looked great.
Yeah.
I mean, you could tell he'd really taken care of himself. God bless him. God, so when he died earlier this year, I mean, my heart just sunk for him and his family, and God bless Leaping Lanny Popham. Now, I agree. Who said there needs to be a statue?
I did. I've been saying that for years. I said, I even said we could, like do a fan thing and try to get but like I always said Macho Man, but I don't know. I never realized the story that his dad and the genius was in there with him on that too, so
Angela started it.
Yeah, I know.
So
yeah.
that's if we did anyway, I would say
like all three of them.
All three of them, yeah. You would have to have Angelo, and
Yeah.
Lanny, and Randy.
And him with Lanny Popo.
Yeah.
And Bobby Blaze.
Okay. Yeah.
So, as a matter of fact, next Sunday,
I was gonna say Rip Rogers.
Hustler Rip Rogers
Yeah,
is coming
Rip
down for a
Rogers.
seminar,
He
who
was
was
ICW.
also an ICW
Yeah.
at the time. So it's amazing when you talk to people in Lexington, you're one or two people away from knowing a Macho Man Randy Savage story.
Oh yeah, yeah.
One of the stories that Lanny told me, and I had to confirm this, was I told him, I heard a story about some Girl Scout cookies and the Macho Man Randy Savage. He said, here's what people don't understand about my brother. He had a soft spot for kids. And I said, well, here's the story I have to tell you. And somebody told me this story that lived next to you all or lived in the same neighborhood. His sister was going around selling Girl Scout cookies. And she knocked on your door. And Randy answered the door. And she said, I'm selling Girl Scout cookies. Would you like to buy some? I'm not buying any Girl Scout cookies. Oh, yeah. And slams the door. Comes back. I'm going to buy every one of them boxes of Girl Scout cookies. Oh, yeah. Bought every one of them. Bought every box of Girl Scout cookies. Give me a box of the Jimmy Snookers. Yeah.
Someone told me one time about someone that lived next to them. I guess, and he said he would stand on the top of their fence, he would stand on the fence somehow and balance himself, just for the hell of it, just balancing himself on top of a fence.
But they were
crazy.
such great athletes. Yeah. And, Macho had a wild side to him.
Yeah.
We know that.
How long were they ICW actually in Lexington?
I want to say from 77 to early 1984.
Wow.
That long.
Yeah, I think it was.
So they definitely, and nobody around here, other than wrestling fans, make that a big deal about that.
Oh, it
but
should
that's
be.
a
I mean,
huge
they
deal.
wrestled over at Henry Clay High School. They wrestled over at Lexington Catholic.
Yeah.
It's huge.
Yeah, they did. They had shows at Rupp Arena.
Yeah.
My dad shared a jail cell with Macho Man Randy Savage before he was famous.
Wait a minute. Hang on. Johnny, I want to hear this. Go.
Yeah,
Wow, get in here. Yeah.
Macho Man used to steal from the grocery store, right?
Okay.
He stole steaks.
Okay.
My dad ended up in a jail cell, and little did he know, the man they was sharing the cell with was Macho Man Randy Savage before he ever got famous. And this is before he ever had the voice that we know now and love.
So that confirms a story my grandfather always told me that
My
Randy was stealing steaks.
Yeah, my grandfather worked at the Pick Pack or the Piggly Wiggly over in Eastland.
Yeah.
On Augusta Drive, and my grandpa was the meat cutter there, and said that was the truth, that he got caught stealing steaks out of there. Some people say that my grandpa caught him, but my grandpa said he wasn't the one that caught him. He said somebody at the store caught him, but
So
he
I
was
heard-
actually the meat cutter there,
I heard this story
the butcher, I guess.
from somebody else. So, take it for what it's worth. Could be true, couldn't be
I don't know
true.
if it's true or not,
But he told me that he was dating this girl that was working out in a liquor store on Nathan's Boonesboro Road out towards the interstate.
yeah.
He pulled up, glass is broken everywhere. And this old gal is just crying her eyes out. He's done it again. He's done it again. Well, who did what? He stole all the beer. He's done it again.
Stole all the beer.
Who stole all the beer? That damn Randy Savage stolen all my beer again. So
The woman at the liquor
again,
store?
So again, I don't know if that's true. I heard that secondhand from somebody.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes,
you
go
got
ahead.
There's a
the
lot of
Buffalo
stories.
story,
Yes,
so you know
go
there's
ahead.
something,
Yeah, and we got another story this time from Kyle Mackert himself. He said, Macho Man and my dad got in a bar fight in Hazard one time when ICW was in Hazard. Next time I'm on the show, I'll tell you all about the story.
I can't wait.
Yeah.
I love this.
Macho
Now,
stayed in Vico, a little place.
He said
in
next
Perry
time he's
County
on the
for a while.
show?
Yep, next time he's on this show.
On this show.
Yes. And
Okay.
also,
Well, there we
he
go.
said-
Cal Mackert's coming on the show
And
again.
also, he said this. He said, my podcast homies are always welcome at at my shows and just make the experience far more better for the fans.
I love that.
Wow.
Thank you, Kyle.
Thank you,
Thanks.
Kyle. That gives me coach chills coming from him.
So another story. Now I'm on a roll with these macho stories. So another one I heard from my neighbor. Again, I don't know if this is true, but this is what I heard. He went to go see wrestling, and I don't know if it was an ICW show or what, but it was at the Georgetown Convention Center. Macho wanted his money up front. He wasn't getting it. Okay, so it wouldn't have been an ICW show because, Angelo ran everything, the miser.
Right, yeah.
So this had to been another promotion. Macho wanted his money up front. He wasn't going to get it from the promoter. He wrecks the entire convention center, throwing chairs. He runs everybody out. He's mad. He wants his money. The promoter called the police. So the police come down. They said, you got to do something. Randy Macho Man Savage is out of control. He's already ran off the crowd. I'm not paying him until he gets in the ring and wrestles. Cops didn't know what to do with him. So the cop called Scott County Judge Executive. Said, we've got Randy Macho Man Savage here. He's upset. He wants his money up front. There's nobody here right now. He won't go until he gets his money. At this point, it's 11 o'clock. There's no show. Judge Executive says, all right, I'll come down. I'll take care of this. Comes down, looks at the promoter and says, pay Randy his money. He's like, we didn't have a show. Just go ahead and pay his money to him. I've got a plan. He pays Randy his money, and the county judge executive turns around to Macho Man Randy Savage and he says, you've been paid, and you're also banned from wrestling in Scott County for the rest of your life.
Wow.
So now I want to spearhead a campaign in Scott County called Lift the Ban on the Macho Man.
That's right.
Oh, yeah. Lift the
the
ban.
Now, again, I don't know if that is true or not. I've tried to.
I guess the commission would know that, or are we right?
I don't know. I've tried to find confirmation on it. I've talked to a few people that probably would have been around at the time. They can't confirm it, but they can't deny it either. So I don't know.
Interesting.
But I at this point, let the Macho Man wrestle again in Scott County.
I want to do a show. Let's do a show, guys, at some point about everybody come together that's watching this show that has a Macho Man Randy Savage story, and let's just all sit here one day and people can call in and tell the story.
That's right.
I think it'd be great. So
Yeah.
I asked Jim.
I want a statue of Macho Man,
I do too.
at least Macho Man here in Lexington somewhere.
That's a really good
or
idea.
the Popo family has a statue.
So, yeah.
I mean, hell, Philadelphia can have a Rocky statue. Why can't we have a Macho?
Yeah, I want it down. I want it downtown.
Real, and he won.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
I think
He was the champ.
they
And
should
Stone
be.
Steaks.
And I've got to do my homework on this a little bit. I want to say that Macho Man is inducted in some Hall of Fame here in the state of Kentucky, but it's not the Kentucky Athletics Hall of Fame, the statewide Hall of Fame. But he is in some Hall of Fame, and I got to do.
Is it the softball? I think he played softball.
He played
I did.
baseball,
Baseball. He played baseball.
but
yeah.
I don't know what Hall of Fame it is.
Bass
I'll get back to
fishing
you on
Hall of
that.
Fame.
What's that?
Bass Fishing Hall of Fame.
Bass fishing.
Listen.
He's a big fisherman. So.
Me too.
I'd love to go fishing with the Macho Man Randy Savage.
Oh,
How much fun
man.
would
Yeah.
that
That
have
would
been?
be a great.
I'd have loved. I would have stowed steaks with the guy. Like, let's go, fucking steal these
I
steaks
mean-
together, bro.
I mean, just
Oh yeah, let's steal some steaks. Yeah.
But you know, you think about this. At the time, growing up in Lexington in the late 70s, you had the Kentucky basketball team. You know, Jack Evans, Kyle Macy, James Lee just won the championship. But you also have Randy Macho Man Savage, Leaping Lanny Poffo, and Jim Varney, Ernest P. Worrell, all going at the same time. I mean, Lexington got some good street cred with all that
Yeah,
going
right.
on.
We have Steve Zahn now, though.
Yeah.
Steve's on.
And Michael Shannon.
Michael Shannon's?
George Jones.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Michael Shannon's from Lexington.
Yeah.
Oh, does he live here, though, now? Or is he?
No, that doesn't live here now,
Steve Zahn
but-
lives here, though. So, yeah. Or at least in somewhere around here.
In Georgetown, I
Georgetown,
believe.
yeah, I think it was, yeah.
And Lexington's the most slept on city when it comes to famous people. People be like, nah, he don't live there.
Oh, yes.
Then when they look up and they find out, well, shit, he was born in Lexington, Kentucky.
Yep.
Well, you know, every time there's a football coaching rumor, they've bought a horse farm down Versailles Road
Oh, yeah.
somewhere. You know, there was that one rumor about Bill Parcells buying a horse farm.
Yeah,
was-
doesn't
and
Shatner have a farm?
Shatner does have
Out in
a farm.
Versailles
Is it-
sure
oh, okay.
does.
Whose is that one that's out on 64 between Lexington and Winchester?
Lee
Majors.
Lee Majors.
Lee
I thought that
Majors.
was Kenny Rogers.
I heard it was Lee Majors.
It was Lee Majors.
Lee Majors.
Yeah.
So, yeah, okay. Yeah.
I heard it was Kenny Rogers, but I don't know.
Well, and
Lee Majors, really?
He lost at the card game.
you know, just down
Yeah,
past
gambler. Yeah.
passed down, I believe, around Marion County or maybe a little bit further. Jerry Bruckheimer has a huge farm down there too.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think Rick Dees does
Yeah,
as
Rick
well.
Dees is from London or Corbin, around there, I think.
Is he?
Or he
I didn't know.
lives
I know
there,
he's got a big farm.
I know the
He did his
judge.
show remotely.
What the judge from Lexington? The judge.
Ashley went to UK.
Yeah.
Ashley went to UK. I think they bleed blue, but
saw
I
the,
think I want to say they're from Ashland.
Somebody.
I think so,
Right.
yeah.
There was this girl that I date. Her mom said that they lived in Cardinal Valley
Put
for a
the
while.
ED at the end of that.
Huh?
The girl that you dated.
What is that?
The girl that you dated.
Oh, I dated.
Yeah.
Oh, I used to date her. Yeah, I dated her. Her mom said that they lived in Cardinal Valley for a while.
Don't know that.
Yeah, I don't know that either, but that was something that was years ago that they told me that. So
The bass player for the band Psychedelic Furs lives in Liberty, Kentucky.
Liberty.
Yeah.
Well, Chris Cale, Five Finger Death Punch.
No, he's,
Hell yeah.
He's from here, and they played at Rupp Arena in December. He came to a UK game, and I've talked to him a couple times. Cool as could be.
Yeah.
Really cool. And I mean, you see him on stage, and I mean, he's all tatted up. He's got this long beard. He's wild looking. He's ripped. He's swolled up. He's playing bass, but you see him at a UK game, you would never think that's the same dude.
Yeah.
Very cool. Very
Yeah.
cool.
well, and don't forget Wheeler Walker Jr. You know.
Oh, Wheeler Walker,
Ben
yes.
Hoffman, Mr. Ben Hoffman. From
Yes.
Here. His dad's a retired. I guess he's retired now. Doctor from here, but Wheeler Walker Jr. Man, he's brought me a whole lot of laughs at the end of the night.
I was delivering out in Hamburg out there at Polo Club one day, and there was I want to say it wasn't Journey, but there was another band that one of the bass players was living out there. I don't know. I can't.
Sure.
I'll think about it when it's all for
Well,
off air.
Carol from The Walking Dead.
Yeah.
She's from here.
Yeah, yeah.
Hell
And-
yeah.
And then they just that new restaurant just opened up.
Nick
Nor-
Norman's.
Norm's-
Yeah, Nick and Norm's. I haven't been there yet,
Yeah.
but I heard
I haven't been there.
Aaron Tiny Rose is a huge fan
It's
of
good.
that place. I haven't
It's
been
good.
yet.
It's
Yes.
good. It's down on Main Street, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really good. I've ate there once.
Chucky Smoot just chimed in and he says, Dermonte Dawson, NFL Hall of Fame.
Yes, yes, good call on that.
Yeah.
I mean, you peel it back a little bit. There are some people that live here in Lexington.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Kentucky, Muhammad Ali is from Kentucky,
Right.
so
There's a lot of things that happen people don't know about. I mean, unless you really dig into it, though, Lexington doesn't do a lot to showcase. a
we
lot
leave
of
each
people
we
from
leave
here.
each other
Yeah.
alone around here usually.
Yeah.
So you guys remember the name Bruno Sammartino?
I do.
Yeah.
My family's
I
actually
think.
related to him distantly.
Really?
Yep.
So did you know that Bruno Sammartino wrestled over at the old Joyland
Oh yeah.
off Paris Pike?
Yeah.
Years ago.
There was a huge amusement park over there, right?
Right, there was an amusement park and it burned down
Yeah.
years ago, but Jerry Lee Lewis played over there. And they used to have wrestling, and this is amazing. The Lexington Herald Leader was split up into two different papers. You had a morning edition and an evening edition.
Yes.
They used to print wrestling results in the paper.
Oh wow.
Like in the sports columns. and
In the
stuff.
sports column,
Yeah.
right. So if you go downtown to the library and you get into the microfiche and you
Oh,
look,
wow.
and there is a picture of Bruno Sammartino wrestling at Joyland.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
It's a little black and white picture about that big.
That's crazy.
But here's the other thing. I was talking to my dad about this the other day. We were talking about the Iron Sheik passing away. And he said, I remember seeing the Sheik wrestle. And I said, Dad, we're talking about the Iron Sheik. He says, no, I'm talking about the original Sheik.
the original sheet.
Ed
The
Farr
original
Arts.
Sheik. Yes,
Yeah.
Ed Farr Arts.
Yes.
Yes.
His
And
uncle.
The crazier one.
And he had his promotion up in Michigan. It was big. I think it was called Big Time Wrestling, and it came down to Cincinnati. And my dad told me, he said, I remember your grandmother driving us from Georgetown up to Cincinnati just so she could watch the Sheik and boo him. She hated watching the Sheik on TV.
So you know a lot about wrestling, like wrestling history here in Lexington, right?
A little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
So, and I love digging into it.
Yeah.
Love digging into it. So, Johnny, did you know over at Woodland Park there used to be an auditorium over there?
I did not.
Yes,
For
and they
once, I
used to
did
have
not.
wrestling over there.
Okay, Woodland Park.
Woodland Park, yes.
Where
You
was
know
it at?
Go ahead, Johnny.
You know, my family used to work for Danny Fargo, setting up the rings and tearing them down.
Really?
Oh wow.
I've had a close ties to wrestling.
That's cool. That's very
Made
cool.
for this business, Johnny.
I don't know exactly. I'd have to talk to somebody about exactly where the auditorium was placed at in Woodland Park. I'm not exactly sure.
Yeah.
And I can't find any actual pictures. I know they had a big pool there.
They had there was a big old huge building there in Castlewood Park when they had the pool there. And I know the pool was built after the building, but I wonder what that big building was for.
I don't know.
You don't know? You don't?
I don't know. I'd have to ask
remember
my
the
dad.
big building
yes,
over there?
Yes. I have to talk to my dad because he
It was
tells
almost
me
like
stories
it's a
about Castlewood.
It was almost like a damn factory. It was so big. Like
I'll ask him about that.
The locker room where you changed to go swimming was fucking huge.
Wow.
But
Yeah, ask your dad about
the
that.
Sheik wrestled at the Woodland Auditorium. You want to talk about the great Buddy Rogers, the great Ray Stevens
Oh yeah.
wrestled over at the Woodland Auditorium. Chief Don Eagle. Now there's one. My dad remembers going to see Don Eagle wrestling at the Woodland Auditorium. Wrestling in Lexington has a unique history, and I think it gets overlooked.
And there's none here now. There's no independent pro wrestling here.
There's no recognition of it other than what we're doing right now.
Yeah.
It gets looked over, and it needs to be brought.
And there's nobody there's nobody having a small promotion here either. Like there's nowhere for us to do it.
Well, you know, what we're doing at New South and coming into Lexington next Friday night and what we did last year, I would hope that we are maybe leading that again and bringing that back.
Yeah.
Well, and you're
I think
seeing
we
a whole
are.
lot more happening with other organizations,
Right.
You know, that have been here in some form or fashion, but getting a little bit more attention. EWA, I mean, up in Frankfurt.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Elite Wrestling.
Oh yeah,
amazing.
well they're in Frankfurt, they're in Lawrenceburg, but like actually doing
Staying
regular
here,
shows here in Lexington, and I would love that to happen because
And it's-
I was
it's-
so excited when Anthony wanted to find a place here in Lexington, but it's
Right.
like so expensive
That's
to
the
find a
problem
place.
Right now is there's really everything has been configured in Lexington to either be retail or high-end rental. You know.
Well, they built that big convention center downtown, and they could set a part of that, not just for wrestling. They could set part of that aside for the community to use, and have like a low rent for just and they have enough space there that they could give us a big enough space that we could do a wrestling show or even have church conventions or
And the
whatever
crowd
they
is
want to
here
do.
to a degree too, man. We bring in people from outside, but I think it's got to build that crowd base back. That loyal fan.
Look at the
base
fans
there.
Friday night at WWE.
I know.
You can't tell
Well,
me.
it's like even AEW when that was at
Oh,
Roughneck.
AEW, and I mean that was
This
that was a
is-
4.5 hour show.
This is a wrestling town.
Yeah.
Yes,
That's
it
my
is.
point.
So when New South Wrestling was at the Ice Center, we packed that place.
Yes.
It was good. It was really
Which,
good. Night.
and to any Lexingtonians out there reluctant to make the drive to Lawrenceburg for New South, it's a 35-minute drive.
It doesn't
guys.
take long.
It doesn't take long at all. Like
it's just
you go the back way, it's like 20
takes
minutes.
you longer to drive to the other side of Lexington than it takes
Plus
you
you
to
get
drive
the-
from Lexington to Lawrenceburg.
Plus you get to drive. If you go down Versailles Road, you get to drive by the castle. You get to drive by the airport.
Which, by the way,
Tell us about the castle.
let me tell you about the castle. Guess who cut a promo? Guess who cut a promo in front of the castle? 1981, 1982, somewhere around there.
Macho Man.
Close. Leaping Lanny Poffo.
Okay.
Yeah, sure did.
Genius.
Nice.
He was reading a poem out in front of the castle.
That's awesome.
Guys, we've been on here almost 2 hours, and at this point of the podcast,
I tell you what, though,
this is what we do. At
we're
this
gonna have you
point,
back.
At this point of the podcast, I let everybody have like a little few minutes to plug anything that they want to plug, say anything to the fans that they want to say, and to finish up. I'm gonna let Johnny go first. Go ahead, Johnny.
I just want to say thank you to all our fans that tune in. Kyle Mackert, you're awesome. Bobby Blake, you're awesome. Aaron Rose, thank you for the 99 stars that you sent tonight. Nate Hewitt, I saw that you were watching. Love you, brother. I want to thank DJO's BadAss for coming in.
You're welcome.
Always a pleasure. James Colby, always a pleasure too. Jay Ritchie, hey, you stayed longer than what you thought.
I know, it happens.
Hey, I tell you, once you get out here, it's like, whoo.
It's usually my excuse when I go out at night, too. It's like,
By the way, did Mickey? Where's Mickey?
He didn't show up, so
Oh, he'll show up next Wednesday, he said.
Okay.
next Wednesday.
He said
I
next
thought we were
Wednesday.
bumping his airtime. I didn't. I'm
No,
starting to feel
he
horrible.
kind of said he was going to be in town, so I kind of
He had
like
to watch his baby.
I kind of
Okay.
threw him in. Like I said, come on by, because I tell everybody if they're in Lexington, just come on by the podcast. We'll fit you in somewhere. I'm gonna let Jay go next. Go ahead, Jay.
But all right, so I guess immediately just go to livewaterlex.com. We're doing a whole lot of things with karaoke, a music trivia thing all around Lexington, Versailles area. Biggest thing we have coming up now is coming up on the 30th at Pivot. I'll let Colby go over this a little bit too. At 30th at Pivot
27th.
Brewing. 27th. See, that's why I have him
June
here.
the 27th.
See, I have this board at home with all these dates on it that I keep having to add and erase because I forgot about the 30th, the wrestling show and everything. So. But 27th, June 27th, Tuesday at Pivot Brewing. It's 1400 Delaware Avenue. It's just between Winchester Road and Henry Clay. Come out there. 7 o'clock is our start time. So come out early, hang out. We're going to either be inside in the back room, or if we have overflow, we're going to have this big area outside. Got 5 big comedians like we go over more detail of that. It's going to be a free comedy show. We're going to do this monthly. The last Tuesday of the month is looking like right now. We're always going to have big names out there, at least for the first little bit. Just have some good headliners coming through. And we're never going to charge you. We may ask for some donations, but we never charge you. So that's, check out livewaterlex.com. Go check out Pivot Brewing because Pivot's great. And Devin Rollins out there. She runs the place. She does an amazing job.
Yep.
Go out there and, get some cider and throw her some cash and some thumbs up, too. She's a good job. We've got next Friday the 30th we do have the show at the Counterclocks Stadium.
I'm not saying
South.
counterclocks. It's the Legends.
I know.
It'll be the Legends.
It's hard to say that. Yeah.
I know. I don't even understand the name. I don't understand the name.
Okay, so do you want me to explain the name to you?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So, years ago, many years ago, before we were ever even thought about, we're talking like prior Civil War, there was an American Revolutionary general who lived down in Crab Orchard, around Lincoln County, that area. So, he started horse racing in Kentucky, basically. So, in order to upset the British, he said, we're going to run our horses counterclockwise.
Oh, okay.
Because over in England,
Showed them.
that's right. And we're still burning them up right now because we've named a baseball team the Counterclocks. But that's where it all came from, was horse racing.
Okay.
And
so we run different than.
We run. Yes,
Still?
in America
Still?
we run counterclockwise. Over in England, they run clockwise.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
We had
So
this
that's how the name
conversation
came
out there.
about.
Yeah,
Okay.
We had this conversation up front. I was like, oh, God.
So now you know,
There's
James
so many
Colby.
easier shots to take at the British. Come on.
It's your turn, James. So
they
go ahead.
colonized half the damn planet and didn't put any spice in their cookbooks. Like the Germans dropped
it's
everything
so
but
good.
cookbooks on those
All
people.
everybody's going to be paying attention to this and be like,
God.
that guy.
That's where it came from, though.
LiveWireLex.com. I'll say that one more time. LiveWireLex.com. Check it out. We got all kinds of things. Too much to talk about, but my man Kobe right here. You give us what we got.
Saw a
for the
story
conversation.
that said like a lorry crashes into a crowd of people in London. Just like say truck. I had to look up what a lorry. Okay.
Was there anything in the boot?
Yeah. The
Say
boot.
Q. Say Q one more time. All right, I'm very passionate about.
I dare you. I double dog dare you.
Oliver Gunner. I'm sorry.
Zed.
Dude, I already had heat with Nick Otis now. I
Yeah,
think I'm
yeah,
screwed.
all right.
ZDP.
Sorry. But on lighter notes, 6/27 Tuesday, June 27th, the Lex Out Loud comedy series presented by Livewire Entertainment and Pivot Brewery, America's first brewery. Citation needed. We've got Blake Hammond, John Bass, Katie Bevins, Dusty Carter, Sebastian Zabala, and yours truly, James Colby. It's going to be a great show. Free show. Great price. Can't beat that price. No reason not to come. It's going to be a great time. Obviously, we will accept donations throughout the night. But more importantly, come come enjoy some beers, enjoy some laughs, tip your servers as well. What else we got going on? Mirror Twin, live wire every Sunday night. Go see Jay out at Mirror Twin.
We have next Saturday, July 1st, EWA in Frankfurt. We'll be up there running Sound of Lights for them. And then that very next day in Lawrenceburg, New South Wrestling with Mr. Rip Rogers. Rip Rogers in town for that day. So got to see another cool guy out there. And I watched some interviews with him the last couple of days. The guy is amazing. So he's got some great stories, and he just says it. And about for everybody from way back to, working with, driving Andre around all the way up to training Brock Lesnar. He's got stories. So just coming and seeing this guy and, at the mentor's table and talk to him, you're going to love it there. He's one of the guys you definitely want to come see. So.
But I do want to thank you, Andy, Johnny, Sean, even though he took off early. But thank you all for having us. And Otis, thank you for everything you're doing at New South. And
thanks
to New South, all our guys listening. Jay and I are absolutely, honestly honored, floored that we get to be a part of it.
It's great to have you guys as a part of the team. It really is. You guys add so much to what we're doing overall.
So it's your turn.
After hearing Colby, I don't need to say anything. I think I'm out of a job. Yeah. You don't need me here.
Yeah.
All right, you want me to plug some things?
Yeah, just go ahead and plug anything you want. Say whatever you want to say.
Okay.
Like you ain't got to plug. I mean, you can plug. You can plug. Just say whatever you want to say.
Okay. Hello again, everybody, from the Nice Guy Andy podcast in Lexington, Kentucky. Exciting! Nice Guy Andy podcast and New South Wrestling action is on the air. Friday night, June 30th, Counterclocks Field in Lexington. New South Wrestling returns to Lexington. Gates open at 5:45. Matches begin at 5:45. The Box Office Blondes, the Upstart Tag Team Champions, take on your Southern Tag Team Champions, Colorblind, in a non-title match. GD Ray, making her debut last week in New South, takes on the New South Women's Champion, Nurse Micah. Ari Alexander, the New South Wrestling Upstart Champion, also in action. 3 matches before the first pitch. Main event after the game. Counterclocks versus Frederick. New Atlantic team from Maryland. Counterclock Fields in Lexington, Kentucky. Tickets, LexingtonCounterclocks.com.
Wow.
Hell yeah.
And I got to follow up on that.
Yeah, good
guys, this is Nice Guy Andy podcast. You heard it from DJ Otis BadAss. Watch the Nice Guy Andy podcast. Go over to the Facebook, like, share, and comment on the Nice Guy Andy podcast page. We are monetized by Facebook. Facebook helps us a little bit, so all the likes, comments, and shares help us out tremendously. You can go over there, send us stars for our reels, and go subscribe. For $4.99 a month, you can subscribe to the Nice Guy Andy podcast and help us pay the bills over here, guys. Subscribe on Facebook. Then you go over to YouTube, the Nice Guy Andy podcast YouTube. Subscribe there. We're trying to build that channel. And Spotify. We're on Spotify. We're on podcast, Apple Podcast, wherever you can find podcasts. I think we're on a couple other places, but check that out because we're trying to build those platforms too. If you want to just listen to us, the video is on the Spotify too, so check that out. Check out Bobby Blade's YouTube channel. We're trying to grow that channel. He's Bobby Blade is such a great ambassador to the Lexington Wrestling. Lexington, Kentucky Wrestling, or Kentucky Wrestling. He puts a lot of the MWA shows on there from old Georgetown shows.
One more, too. Trippin' Balls on Twitter.
Yeah.
At This Is Wrestling, or Is This Wrestling? I think that's what it is.
Is This Wrestling?
He does a lot of old matches. Yeah. And it's very interesting to dig into the history of his dad, too.
Yeah. And we've had him on the show.
You've had him on the podcast, so I want to give a shout out to him because I really enjoy his Twitter account.
Shout out to Trippin' Balls on Twitter. Check out the Nice Guy Andy podcast on Twitter. Check out us on Tumblr. Check us out on, everywhere. We're on Google. Google us.
Great.
And I want to thank Superfly Johnny Lee for all his help. And without Superfly Johnny Lee, the podcast would still be going, but it wouldn't be as entertaining. I want to thank James Colby for coming in and sharing his comedy chops with us. And Jay Ritchie Jay Ritchie supported us, and we appreciate you. And hopefully I want to work with you guys a little bit more. And you guys, anybody in this room has had access to the podcast studio anytime y'all need to use the equipment or whatever. So, guys, I just want to get out of here. DJ Otis BadAss, thank you. I felt honored having you in here. You you speak so well, and you read and speak so well, and which is a very crazy thing for me. But like speaking out loud, it's it's definitely a skill, and everybody in this room is trying to.
You got the voice for radio.
These guys are professionals, and I'm trying to get there. So if you're not having fun,
you ain't getting none. Damn skip. Yeet.
After party
that's
time.
good.
Yep,
Nice guy, Andy podcast.
I like it.
It happened when he pulled up. We were just bullshitting. He keeps popping off at the mouth. I'm gonna be his daddy. No, it was me that said
What your mama said.
Ooh, yeah! That's a damn straight. Damn skip. Just damn straight. Damn skip.
Anyways,
Boys, I enjoyed it.
this is the Zodiac, and I'm telling you now, meditate, elevate, and dominate. Do it with the Nice Guy Indie podcast.
hell yeah.
Anyways,
We didn't accidentally.
you guys go on your little rinky-dink bullshit podcast.
Sean has
Anyway.
Okay, I feel bad. I didn't know we were.